spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Amazing Spider-Man Classics. My name is John Wilson, and this is the special 1-year anniversary episode of the show. With me is Joshua Bertoni.
Hello! When he calls me Josh Bertoni, I feel 25 years old.
And Donovan Grant.
Oh yes, it's been 1 year and I feel
1 year old.
Slightly older.
I feel slightly fatter. But we are here with a very special episode of the show to talk about, how we came to be, what we're doing here, why we're here, and then to take a special trip to the movies.
Ooh.
Today, on Amazing Spider-Man Classics, you will hear my, Josh's, and Don's opinions on Spider-Man 2002 as we do a in-movie commentary for you right here on this podcast.
Oh yes, live, lewd, crude, and totally nude. I just like saying that.
Were we supposed to be naked for this? Because I totally brought clothes.
I show up naked to every episode regardless.
I mean, I haven't put them on yet, but I have them with me.
Leave them at the door.
Leave it at the door. Clothing optional for this episode of Amazing Spider-Man Classics, as it should be.
Except for some of our underage listeners.
If you're underage, listen to this show. Please wear clothing. But now we've decided what to do with our clothing, let's talk about this show. We just thought we'd kind of give you some behind-the-scenes information of how the show came to be, in case you've been curious about such things. And also just, crap, I don't have notes for this show.
You don't have notes for, for how we met.
I can't talk off the top of my head. I have to have notes. I sound terrible when I talk off the top of my head.
John Wilson was listening to a podcast about Spider-Man and reading his old Ditko issues with his parents as he was walking out of the comic store when all of a sudden Joe Chill came and shot his parents dead.
I think you've told that joke before.
I was about to say John Wilson was like listening to a podcast with a picture of Josh. It's an omen. I should make a Spider-Man podcast with Bertoni.
With Bertoni.
No, actually, the person who we have to thank for putting this dream team together is none other than Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson. Yeah, so I was a big fan of the From Crisis to Crisis Superman podcast, and I had started doing a co-host with Zach Henderson for Teenage Wasteland and Ultimate Spider-Man podcast whenever I wanted to do a classics, well, I wasn't using that word, but a podcast that covered like the old 1960s Spider-Man comics because I love that era, and I always like to do things from a beginning standpoint. And so I asked around. I was vaguely getting to know some of the people in the comic book podcast community. I think I talked to Michael Bailey. I think I talked to Scott Gardner, trying to find out who out there might be interested in doing a Spider-Man podcast. And I was referred to Chris Johnson, who was formerly of the Amazing Spider-Cast that had a well-famed run a couple years back. And he said that he loved the idea, would love to guest sometime, but would not actually be able to do it regularly. And he pointed me towards a man I had never met or heard of named Joshua Bertoni. Actually, I had heard of you at that point because you had written a rather scathing email to Teenage Wasteland.
Scathing. I'm actually looking for it in my Facebook right now. Yeah, it's actually because of Nuff Said, because when Nuff Said started, I emailed Chris asking if he wanted a co-host, and I sent in an audition tape, but I guess apparently it made him think, okay, well, this guy will talk about Silver Age Marvel stuff, so...
I'm just imagining what that thing starts out with. It's like, Dear John Wilson, what the hell is this? How could you possibly do this, Teenage Wasteland?
If you listeners can give me a minute or two, that might be edited out. I might be able to tell you. Let's see. Okay, Facebook browser's being slow, so we don't have the email today, folks. But yes, I knew of John Wilson from Teenage Wasteland, so I sent him an email. Despite what he wants you to believe, there was positive stuff in there. I just said one thing about the show that I noticed, and he said, God, this guy, I must earn his approval by doing a podcast with him. So, by the way, here's some deleted scenes of audition tapes of people that almost wound up on the show in our place. Originally, Carrie Fisher read for the part of Josh Bertoni. Let's hear how that sounds.
Originally, Billy D. Williams read for my part.
Well, you got the race down, but nothing else.
Science, baby.
Science, baby. Science. We're looking for something a little more shouty. You gotta be like, science!
I was looking for the bathroom, and I was like, hey, you mean like science? Yeah, that guy, Billy D, you're out of there.
So one of the things we had before I started asking around about a co-host for this is I actually invited Brad to come and talk on my Teenage Wasteland show. And he didn't know me from Adam. He thought I was just some random guy asking to be on a show. And he turned me down, which made me very, very sad. Brad, you made me sad. But that's okay. I forgive you.
I'm like going through the last year of my life here, and the last year of classics.
I feel like we're on a variety show.
Okay, so March 8th is the beginning of your conversation with me, Josh. I sent you a Facebook message that said, hey, Joshua, because I didn't know you were Josh. I'm looking for a partner for a podcast that will look at all the old classic Spidey books in order from the beginning. I'm thinking monthly, covering several books per episode, because at this point I had heard the Avengers Assemble podcast, and that's kind of how they do things in their first couple episodes there. They talked about several issues of Secret Invasion in a 3-hour episode. Now that could be our format, we just, pull a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 issues out and do them all in one go, in one episode on a monthly basis. And little did I know that we could spend almost 2 hours on one Steve Ditko issue of Spider-Man. I'm thinking monthly, covering several books per episode. I know your life is busy, so you might not be able to, but if you or someone you know is interested in something like that, could you or she or he let me know? I appreciate it.
Oh, you were so hopeful for a she.
But aren't all guys always hopeful for a she? I mean, that's just kind of the way we are.
She.
Okay, I found the message, and I'm looking when I wrote it. January 6th. Okay, so it wasn't that long after I started listening. Okay, and now for the first time, except if you listen to Teenage Wasteland and you heard it there, Joshua Lappin-Bertoni meets John Wilson. Loving the podcast. I've been listening since, quote-unquote, episode 0. Oh, I didn't give you a hard time about episode 0? After the first few, you guys have been improving week by week and seem to have found your groove. My only complaint is that sometimes you guys are way too influenced by From Crisis to Crisis. Your format, the way you discuss things, first appearance of Security Guard, the joke at the end, similar to Jeffrey Signups, and the Elsewhere in the Ultimate You seem like straight lifts from the podcast. Don't get me wrong, there are only so many ways to do a comic book podcast without running into similarities. I only say something because the amount of similarities between you guys and FCTC is more than a few similarities. You guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing and develop your own segments and stuff. Loving you guys. And John's response is, and we'll have Don read it back in his John voice.
My John voice, huh? My John, he's right here. Hey Joshua, thanks for the feedback. We're going to address it on a future episode, but I did want to write and say that we're aware of the similarities without trying to make them happen. We wanted to emulate FCTC's basic format, but just not be a copy. It's not an easy balance to find, but we're working on it. Thanks again, John.
I'm all self-conscious in there because I realize exactly what you're saying.
So naturally, I thought, John asked who else would be interested in doing this podcast, getting another person. So I thought, who better than, one of my best podcasting buddies, somebody who gets the issues, knows Spider-Man, and, just all around good person to podcast with. So
Zach Joyner.
So I asked Dustin, and he couldn't do it. I asked Don, who.
I think that around that time I had just become regular on Clone Saga Chronicles, and I'll freely admit this. I was honestly a little hesitant to start another show just because I felt it was a really long. It was like Star Trek, like a 5-year journey kind of thing, and I'd not met John before, so I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to do this. I was just like, oh, I'm not sure. So like when Josh agreed to be on it, and we actually talked to John like on Voice about it, about what we had ideas going. The feeling started to get a little better, and then we recorded the first episode, where the name of the podcast was actually decided like in the last possible second, which I think is in the bloopers. I think John's like, "What's this show called again?"
Well, I was saying it wrong whenever because. Yeah, I was really, really nervous when we were doing that first episode because y'all were new to me. I think we'd only had like a 5-minute conversation on Skype before we did that first recording, so I didn't really know either of you that well, and y'all didn't know me that well. And I think Josh is actually the first person who started turning our humor to the dark side. But I jumped on that bandwagon pretty quickly. I did find some earlier artifacts from before we started doing this because I had made some solo versions of this show before I had any co-hosts arranged. I was recording episodes and shopping myself out there to see if anybody wanted to do a show with me, and yeah, they were pretty terrible.
Really? No, I never knew that you did solo versions.
Yeah, I did. I think 6 solo episodes, and I don't think I have any of the episodes anymore, except for the first one, maybe because I sent it to my brother in Gmail, so I think it's still on Gmail servers. But my Golden Age Superman show that I don't know if it sounds like it because I try not to let it sound like it, but those are really heavily scripted. I do not trust myself on a mic to just talk freely without knowing what I'm going to say. And so I make a lot of really detailed notes on the comics before I actually record a solo show. Whenever I'm talking with people, it's a lot easier, but you sit there with a mic and a comic and you try to record something that sounds good, and I just can't do it without a whole lot of really detailed guidance. But now we have Josh has asked Donovan to be on there, and Donovan has tentatively agreed. And
I do think that we had no idea how humorous the show was going to be. I think we were just in my mind it was more of like a straight look back podcast kind of, and then we ended up making fun of every issue.
I remember that I had no idea what kind of knowledge Josh had of Spider-Man. I thought I knew a lot about Spider-Man when I was talking to Josh in the first emails. I was like, oh, I've read some 90s, I've read some of the early Ditko stuff, and I've read a lot of because by that time I'd gotten pretty far in my read-through up through the 70s, and so I thought I knew a lot of Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. You ever hear of a thing called Spider Jeopardy?
I think if Josh Bertoni had $1 for every Spider-Man comic that he hasn't read, he might be able to buy a nice dinner.
For real, that's how I felt when I first met him. We were talking about Batman. I was like, hey, hi, I'm a Batman guy. He was like, oh really? And we just
As we puffed out our chests. I'm sorry, John. Let me introduce myself. I'm the person who stumped J.R. Fettinger.
As the shadow grows and grows and grows.
And I was gonna call this show "Swinging Through the Rooftops," the Spider-Man podcast.
I remember that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my god, it has been a year.
Didn't we talk about calling an Amazing Spider-Cast at one point and ask Chris for permission?
Yes, we did talk about doing that. I felt really weird aping somebody else's name, but Chris was really good about. Let's see, I asked him if he wanted to do the show. He said, "Sorry about replying so late. Thanks for the offer. I've got too much on my plate." I told him we're kicking around names. One of the names on the table is Amazing Spider-Man Podcast, but it strongly resembles the title of the show you used to do. We wouldn't want to step on your toes, so you have veto power if you don't like that name. And he's like, ooh, veto power, eh? Let me twirl my mustache for a moment. And he says, nah, just kidding. It sounds different enough from the name of my old show. So we were allowed to use it, but I think we just decided to go in a different direction.
Now, originally, all the month's worth of issues, we were going to cover 5 issues an episode.
5 issues in an episode, 1 recording a month. And we sat down to do Amazing Fantasy 15 and talked for an hour and a half about 11 pages.
Yeah. And it was the next recording where we recorded episodes 2 and 3.
Oh, we did 1 and 2 in that night. And then we did the third one the next night.
Amazing Fantasy 15 was 1 episode.
Yeah.
I almost left the show after the second episode.
Did you?
You knew this.
Did I forget?
Because he hated us so much.
You did. Because I hated... No, because it was because of time issues. I spent the first 2 podcasts taking notes for the issues that we were doing, as we were covering the previous issues. And I said, I can't, do this if I'm not being prepared, so I might have to leave the show. And then you said you'd be sad, and then nothing ever came of it.
Oh, well, did you leave? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I never did.
I left. You guys were able to get me back at the end of season 10, Michael Rosenbaum style. That's some foreshadowing for the Smallville talk in the blooper section.
No, I remember we had done. I think we had done up to issue 3, and by that point we had gotten some feedback, and our first feedback. And John brought in his co-host from Teenage Wasteland, Zach, and our feedback was so incredibly popular. Like Josh likes to call it, Brave and the Bold style, with different co-hosts each time, sparking our heads. So we got We got Mike Bailey. We got Brad Douglas. We got some fans like Stephen Lacey and
Jeffrey Taylor,
yes, Jeffrey Taylor, um,
Gerard Delatour.
Gerard Delatour, J.R.
We had a
Carter.
couple other people that we talked to that fell through at some point.
Okay, I'm looking at the message I sent Don saying want to do another show in the tagline, and then I just copied my conversation with you, and then Don says, "From what I can, yo science, yo, from what I can surmise, this is a proposal for a Spider-Man appearance podcast. I have the first 8 essentials, shizzle. So it sounds interesting. I'd feel better learning more about this guy, but I'm not interested."
Yeah, because I sound like Will Smith on crack.
Well, yeah, you do, I think.
And I said, whoops, missed the first messages to cut and paste. But yeah, it's a Spidey from the beginning type deal. You can hear him on Teenage Wasteland, an Ultimate Spider-Man podcast. He's a relative podcast newbie, and the old ones are rough.
How far had you guys gotten into Teenage Wasteland by the time we started?
Oh, that was March. We weren't that far in because we'd gotten past the end of Marvel Team Up. Public Scrutiny was the 2-parter with that. It was right before Venom. We were right before the Venom story.
Volume 5, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the death of George Stacy. Yeah. So
I gotta clear the air one thing. As much as I appreciate everybody really taking to heart like my whole science catchphrase, I gotta say completely and honestly, that is not mine. The female one I kind of came up with, but like science is like female. Because I just noticed that from the issue. But like,
where did you pull science from, dude?
There's like you know Josh?
You told me once.
Yeah, there's a internet comedian called the Spoony One who like he has this like kind of like gimmick character called Dr. Insano who like runs around saying like I'll kill you in the name of science and stuff. Like he like accentuates how funny the word science is. And just by reading Amazing Spider-Man #1, I realized that there's a lot of science in these early issues. So I kind of lent it from him without his knowledge. So like I like that it's sort of become a staple of the show, but in all honesty, it's not mine that's originated. But I just so we won't get sued or anything.
Yeah, here we go. This is what John said to me in one of the emails. How long have you been reading Spidey? Have you read a lot of the back stuff? And I said, I'm a mod over at Crawlspace and have appeared on the podcast from time to time. I did the Jeopardy episode from this December, their second one. And if you listen to it, you'll know that I know my Spidey. Smiley face.
Josh is literally like probably the most authoritative Spider-Man expert like in North America. I'm not saying that in hyperbole. No. I'm not saying that in any hyperbole. I really am not.
No. There's as I'm laughing with like pride or whatever, but no, that can't be true.
I would not be surprised. So now that we've kind of talked about where we've come from, we are going to move right into the film commentary. So get out your DVD of Spider-Man from 2002.
So and your Betamax.
Yes.
Actually, I think that Spider-Man, the original one, actually also had like a VHS release.
It did.
I want to note that if you have downloaded this on a torrent, the capture that they did, it runs at a different playing speed, and you'll be 5 minutes short. So you'll be getting increasingly off of our commentary. So if you're watching a digital version of this film that's an hour and 56 minutes, you don't want to do that. You want the whole 2 hour and 1 minute version off the DVD. So
you'll discover that way.
Not that we had to address this issue in preparation for the show or anything. We're just saying.
as the hour and a half blooper reel will show you.
All right. So gonna go in with 1, 2, go.
I hate you so much.
Don't hate me, Josh.
No, you said go instead of 3, and now this TriStar woman she's Columbia. Who knows?
You can tell from her, like the shape of her face, she's Colombian.
Everyone knows that Colombian women's shapes are like a painting of a woman.
So here we have. Was this the first movie that did this whole flashing Marvel?
I think X-Men did. I'm not sure.
That's what I say.
Did X-Men?
Or Blade may have. Probably not. I can't imagine them doing this for Blade.
What do you guys think of like the music? Like this, like
it's not as memorable as Danny Elfman's Batman.
No, it's really not. I mean,
I like it, but it's not iconic.
Out of the theater, seeing You won't walk out of
Spider-Man!
without singing this.
Yeah, John, we forgot to tell you before recording. One of the problems with commentaries is everyone talking over each other. You can't plan for that.
What are you gonna do?
Well, yeah. Just like I can't edit out you just telling me that.
Oh,
Kirsten Dunst.
it's not necessary to edit that out.
Okay, now I met Kirsten Dunst. Not met, but first came across Kirsten Dunst. We are about the same age. There's like a year or two difference. And she was on Interview with a Vampire. And so I thought she was really cute in that. And ever since then, I've sort of followed her movie career. And I was really, really excited to see her in this movie.
I met her in
And then-
Jumanji.
We'll talk about that later. Oh, yeah, she was in Jumanji too, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I saw her in that too. I just didn't realize who she was at the time.
Bill Nunn.
And she
I've
was
seen
also
her-
in a cheerleading movie called Bring It On, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that one till later. And Crazy Beautiful, I didn't. Well, that came out after this.
Yeah, not to make another Batman comparison, but the whole, like, reveal of Spider-Man's costume, it's not as awesome as the reveal of, like, the bat symbol in Batman 89 with Danny Elfman music. But
Oh, and then the Green Goblin mask is there to make you say, "What am I watching? What?"
This actually
Yep.
reminds me of like the intro to like the PlayStation movie tie-in video game. Because this was kind of similar like that.
Well, it was a movie tie. That was probably intentional.
Right.
Not to say you're dumb, but you know.
Yeah, but we won't mention how dumb I actually am.
okay, is this a building or his costume? Okay, it's a building. It's a weirdly shaped and colored building.
Colored like his costume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, well, what was that? Was that? It's like his costume as a building. What's CGI intro? You can't decide what you're doing. Are you doing a reveal of the costume or this?
It's 2002. We have good CGI. We're gonna do it into it.
Oh, we just passed the Steve Ditko thing.
Steve
By the
Ditko.
way, that guy David Kowapi wrote Jurassic Park screenplay with Michael Crichton. Anyway, people cheered in the theater when his name came up, so I was happy about that. That people like knew who he was.
Nice.
Well, unlike Bob Kane, like Steve Ditko legitimately like has always received credit, right, in the comics.
Say that again.
Steve Ditko's always received credit for co-creating Spider-Man, though, right, in the comics and stuff. Like, not always publicly, but
I don't think the comics have a mandatory created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko credit.
It doesn't. There was a Stanley Presents for the longest time.
Yeah, there was. I don't think Steve Ditko gets regular credit for creating Spider-Man. Well, if you ask Stan Lee, he didn't. He co-created. The most Stan Lee will say is co-created. And only because Steve Ditko demands it. Okay, so here is Peter being a
Jogging to
dork.
school.
Yeah.
jogging
The
to school.
bus driver is such a douche.
Everyone hates Peter.
It's New York. Everyone's a douche in New York.
Oh,
Hi,
see,
Gerard.
this is actually very realistic because when you're a dork, the only person who will defend you is the absolutely hot, popular girl.
The hottest girl on the bus is the one who's going to come to your rescue.
Yeah, always.
The one who will eventually love you.
So that's Liz Allen there with the glasses.
According to Peter David's novelization.
Wow.
Yeah, she in
There's
this
Kong.
universe did not treat her well. Is
Kong.
that
Well, I don't
Make
think
that
so, but like it's analogous to Kong Harlan, King Kong Harlan, whatever his name is.
Well, Ultimate Spider-Man was a year into production by the time this hit the theaters, a year and a half. So, it's not impossible that this movie could have taken cues
I'm gonna call that teacher Mr. Warren just because
just because we can.
that was
they're
Peter's high
they're
school.
seniors in this movie, so
Yeah, it could be Mr. Warren.
And she's waving, and he thinks she's waving at him, and she's not. It reminds me of Kick-Ass, whenever the girl's looking at him and saying, "Hey, beautiful," he's like, "Hi," and turns out her best friend was on the other side of him.
oh yeah. I do remember when this movie came out, there were like special features just on television and stuff, and they said that how they researched that all the actors like looked around high schools and dressed like high schoolers did at that time,
That sounds really incredibly awful.
like losers.
Because we're not going to date this by giving them high school fashions of the day.
Bell bottoms and like necklaces and stuff.
Now, the one reason I don't like William Dafoe and James Franco in these roles is because they don't have Tootsie Rolls on their head.
Well, find an actor who does.
I mean, I would seriously
Yeah.
shave my head and glue Tootsie Rolls to it if it would give me the part.
You did shave your head.
Don't you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. I shaved it just last night, actually.
If Peter
Okay,
and
no.
Harry are best friends, why is this the first time he's meeting his father?
Because his father hides.
Because Peter doesn't go over to Harry's house to play with toys. They're just like school friends.
This isn't the last time we're going to be wondering if this has been happening all their lives. Why is this only happening now?
Shut up. I think this movie also like really kind of defined the current Peter and Harry relationship because before this, they were best friends, but they weren't like traditional best friends. I don't think. And stop me if I get this wrong, but like I remember in the comics, it was just sort of like they kind of became best friends out of like each other's convenience. Like Peter lived with Harry, and Harry got help from school by Peter. So, but in this one, they're more like school chums.
Oh, Flash.
Flash is being a little bit too lovey-dovey on Mary Jane there.
Oh, Mary Jane's lovey-dovey on a lot of
Movie.
people in this franchise. Flash Thompson, Harry Osborn, Peter Parker, John Jameson.
Except not Flash, because he was just pushing him off of her. Oh, you're a dork, Flash.
But they were dating. I mean, she had his ring to give back to him at the end of graduation.
Was it a promise ring? Was it an engagement ring? Or was it be my girl forever ring?
Probably a class ring.
I love the spiders in this.
I don't. I have arachnophobia.
Really? You're a
Actually,
Spider-Man fan with arachnophobia?
Yeah, that's one of
Oh,
my
how ironic! Somebody call it
coolest
Silver Age.
ironies. I remember when I was a kid. I was 13 when this came out in theaters, and I was actually like looking down, and my parents were making fun of me.
At least it's not arachnoanthropophobia. Fear of Spider-Man.
We're gonna get emails of people like pranking
Jonah
me.
has that.
Jonah has that.
Oh,
Spider
nice.
sense, of
A
course.
spider sense. Oh, okay. That's all the explanation we need. Peter, that is so dorky.
And then Harry just turns around. It's not happened yet, but
Yeah. What makes you think I would even want to know that? Who wouldn't?
I like.
But it's cool that they're still friends though. Like even though Peter's a big old dork and Harry is a few rungs up the cool ladder, they're still friends.
For now.
He's not dressing in black like he does in Ultimate Spider-Man because he's the cool guy in that comic, or like
Oh,
at
yeah.
least in the beginning.
Me too.
Yeah, Mary Jane didn't buy that for a second.
It's funny because James Franco has become this really big movie star, and it's gotten to the point now where it's like, what happened to Tobey Maguire? Where did he go?
He's sitting on his
Seabiscuit.
millions.
Seabiscuit, yeah. I do like that look.
One's missing.
As they say in spectaculars, my disgust.
So most retellings of Amazing Fantasy 15 tend to make it a school field trip.
Honestly, though, I always thought that was like one of the more acceptable like retellings because it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's
It
like
does kind
having
of
him be
ruin
in
his
high school.
identity, but
It's kind of like having him be in high school with everybody. It's it gives you like all this from a storytelling standpoint and everything. It makes sense.
So
The
there's a
love theme.
2013 prequel to The Wizard of Oz, and James Franco is going to be doing the voice of Oz, or not the voice of, but he is going to be playing Oz.
Wait, a
Great-
prequel, not
Yeah.
The Wiz, or
yeah, prequel of The Wizard of Oz.
not a sequel to The Wiz.
Okay, here we go. This is part where I think Mary Jane has some actual personality in the movie, but then she's like super dorky whenever he's taking the pictures of her. But I actually prefer this, like, open, dorky Mary Jane over the sweet, whisper, voicey Mary Jane that she becomes later when she's talking.
Mary Jane?
I hate that version of her.
Oh,
Oh, and here comes the so realistically colored spider that just happens to be colored the exact same red and blue. that his
with a
costume-
bright red and blue.
Yeah.
Bite me. Oh
I like
my
that
God.
face. Yeah.
See, this didn't feel like Mary Jane for me, and it's kind of hard to explain why, but
I don't think she hit the comic book Mary Jane at all in this comic.
Oh
in this
Lord,
movie.
no.
Except for maybe they're like a couple of split seconds, just a couple of beats where she interacts with her friends in the distance, and it's more, lively.
Well, the hiding her real personality in front of people in school is right out of the comic books. But then, like on the sequels, I think it's less and less like.
I can never see comic book Mary Jane dating the Flash Thompson of this movie.
No, she wouldn't.
like Mary Jane did date Flash Thompson in the comics, but that was a different circumstance and a different Flash. Like the Flash in this movie is more of a jerk than
Okay, so
Thompson.
this guy
We're
right
on the,
here riding the glider. I'm gonna say that that's Matt Gargan.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it can't be Matt Gargan, but I have nothing to go on that.
No, that's also
General
Mr. Warren.
Slocum. What a name! Wow.
Yeah, everyone was talking about that the night the movie came out because it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, haha, we're teenagers. We think words like slocum are funny.
Well, it's kind of like when you're learning about anatomy in your mouth. You learn about the uvula, which is the little thing that dangles in the back of your mouth, and I've always thought that should be like the name of something in female anatomy. But anyways, guy in the wheelchair. Is he just in a wheelchair because, or is he somebody?
He's gaunt.
Oh, I see.
Even though we have Strom right next to him. That guy with the mustache was in Batman and Robin betting on hookers. And
we should have read the novelization because Peter David probably said like that the guy in the wheelchair was Jason Ionello or someone.
He's Charles Xavier.
Jason Ionello.
Dude, Norman Osborn totally almost kissed Professor Strom.
So I like Defoe in this role. You don't like him, John?
No. I was only kidding about Defoe and Franco earlier with the cornrows thing and the Tootsie Rolls. No, I like until he starts going over the top after he goblins up. No, I think he's great. I think all of his non-goblin stuff in this movie is amazing.
I think when he's over the top, I like him really a lot.
Oh, really?
Honestly,
See, that's
in the comic books, Norman Osborn is a lot like that. He's like this really goofy, like not always goofy, but I thought he got his voice exactly right.
Uncle
Ben.
How many Uncle Bens does it take to put in a light bulb?
One, but he won't live much longer.
Right. Right, so we get an occupation, senior electrician. We just read a Clone Saga issue. What did it say he was in the Clone Saga again? Zach?
Oh,
I mean Zach Dawn. Excuse me.
Well, Josh. No, it's
What was that story though? He was like,
right?
I think he was in like a printing press or something. He got somebody a job.
Yeah, something like that.
I think I remember you mentioning that. Yeah, printing press.
Oh, Uncle Ben, you tell it like it is.
Horrible, horrible future of 2002.
Peter loves you, but not enough to paint the ceiling with you.
Or save you from your killer.
I find it kind of odd that Aunt May would have to reassure Uncle Ben of Peter's love for them. I feel like
it's exposition.
Again, it's one of those things where they've been this way for 15 years, so why are they just now doing this?
Gotta bite. You get it? Because he was bitten.
Well, okay, I could honestly defend that. Because, like, when somebody's feeling down on themselves, like, a significant other will say, well, we all love you, blah, blah, blah.
That's true.
Okay, this shot right here, I think he looks really skinny, but is that like CGI?
They CGI'd his abs. Oh, Peter.
I thought I remembered something about him reading. I thought I remembered reading. Blah, blah, blah. I thought I remembered reading something about him actually working out for this role.
Well, he did, but like I'm saying that like when he took his shirt off as he's passing out, he looks really skinny. And for a while, I thought that was legitimately him filming before he worked out. But then recently, I heard that the idea was brought up to me that like
they actually painted over his skin for that one shot.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
They might have done. I mean, if the only topless shot he's going to do before, becoming Spider-Man is, a second and a half, there's no reason to have two different body frames for that shot. So yeah,
By the way,
I could buy it.
Calling Osborne Industries Oscorp, that's something that the comics never did until around 2004 or so with the Pulse series. It was always Osborne Industries, but the 90s series called it Oscorp, so Ultimate followed suit because that was Bendis's thing, as did the movie. And then eventually everyone forgot that it's not Oscorp, and they called it that in the comics. I remember being really annoyed by that for the first time.
I think this movie makes Norman out to be a slightly more sympathetic character because he's clearly not a bad guy before this. He's just
no. I mean, in the comics, Osborn seriously has issues before he becomes the Goblin.
Oh yeah.
In this, he's just determined and maybe a little bit too willing to do whatever it takes.
Okay, did you have to break the glass? That was a little dramatic.
It's
Yeah.
a movie, don't you
Because
know?
no one else is going to drink this after me, damn it!
He doesn't want the side of glass right next to him.
Radiation? Isn't that stuff dangerous? Norman, this is what you wanted.
He says it's cold. You think it was an ad lib? Sounded like it was.
Professor Strom has a much weaker spinal cord in this movie than he does in the comics.
But he has more hair.
And more
Well,
balls.
it was prison that changed him in the comics. The
Oh,
embezzling.
I see, yeah.
He never had time to embezzle here. I like the nod that they give each other.
The manly nod of respect.
Scary green gas phase commencing.
He had to take his shirt off, but his fancy shoes stay on.
Right. Why did he take his shirt off anyway?
To show off to show off for Strom.
I would have definitely disrobed for science.
God knows I've done more sexual stuff than that for science.
Now,
or like in his face back in them, he's like,
they were no longer meant for him. The gas saw to that.
this strikes me as something very similar to what I imagine the Captain America process was.
Something this horrific.
Like he drinks the serum, but then he's put in a chamber and put through some other chemical reactions to activate it.
Well, in the comics, it was a syringe, wasn't it? For Captain America.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that drinking a serum would not be the way you want to do this, because that stuff is still in his stomach. It has not even begun to actually enter his bloodstream yet.
Restarting Norman's heart. What a noble act that you will regret.
Yeah.
By the way.
Now that you've died, right there, that was you.
Thank you for repaying the friendship. I love this shot.
Yeah.
I like that shot.
I had a dream that Harry's father took off his shirt and wrestled with another man.
He wakes up and like flexes in front of himself, and they did this in like what was it? Like some kind of a Rob Schneider movie, and I thought it was ridiculous because it didn't work at all. I think The Animal or something like that.
Won't be neat.
It's a pretty cool effect with the glasses.
Flash my glasses, you clown!
It'll kill you. Okay, I guess he's got to fight the living brain now.
Yahoo!
He's feeling himself up.
I think it's the best shape that Tony McGuire has ever been in any of the trilogy, to be honest. He's kind of flabby in the third one.
Well, yeah, but by that time, I mean, he has his money and he doesn't really care to be doing the movie anyway.
Right.
Did he just check his pants out?
He looked down. Big change.
Spider dick? Spider dick. Okay, looking out his window and seeing Mary Jane right there, and she has not pulled a curtain. She's obviously getting ready for school, and he can just look in and see her.
Oh, yes.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, poor Peter, every dork's fantasy. The hot girl from school who defends him all the time lives right next to him and can undress, like, feet away from him.
He's the everyman. Don't start without me.
And this is their last happy conversation.
Before he's brutally murdered.
Before he's brutally murdered by the Sandman.
I think this is a nice scene.
And that's Mary Jane's last happy conversation.
Because there are references to her father in each of the movies. There's that. There's the next one.
Now, how does that compare to Mary Jane in the comics? And then we get a lot more information from her in Parallel Lives that I just haven't read yet. But the abusive father and all that, is that even in the 616 comics continuity?
Yeah, but, like, abusive father, the way that, like, they say it, you would imagine that he, like, yelled at her and hit her every night. Like, in the original version, her father slapped her older sister once. And that's it. Like, the mom and the dad had an unhappy marriage, and he was always yelling at Mary Jane and Gail, and one day he slapped Gail, that's Mary Jane's sister. So the mom and the girls left, and Mary Jane's father, like, never returned letters or calls.
Spider Speed.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Question. Was the Mary Jane series out by then, or was this after this? Like the solo.
Like the Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane series?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was after this.
Yeah, that started after this.
Because I remember someone commenting that like Mary Jane looked like Kirsten Dunst.
Although I don't really think so at all. But there were a couple of hardcover Mary Jane novels that were inspired by the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book, and I've read the first one of those. And there is some abusive father stuff that's mixed into that, although I forget exactly the nature of that.
I do remember those, John.
None of those ever had Gale in them.
No, she was an only child in those.
This part made everybody jump in the theater where like it flashes back to the Goblin real quick. It's like, I remember, bah!
The Hangover. I think I got married to Chloe.
Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah.
There's a topical reference.
Because Smallville is clearly still playing right now when you're listening to this in 2050.
Oh, there's Bernard, the worst butler in the history of
the worst part in the entire trilogy, I would say.
Osborn should snap his neck right now.
Well, this is his only scene because he's like, I tried to stop her, sir, and then like you never see him again.
I tried to stop her, sir. Yeah.
It's the same actor too, isn't it? They pull him back for the one random scene in the third movie.
No, he's in the second movie too. Your father only obsessed with his work.
Okay.
And then in like the third movie, he has like the worst scene in the entire movie.
I've seen the third movie maybe twice, and I've seen the second one a few times, but it's been a really long time since I've seen it.
Oh. Now, this is not CGI. This is all like, it's like I think it's like a sticky tray or whatever. But he actually did this.
It might have been filmed backwards with them yanking stuff off the tray.
No, I've seen it. Like he literally did this, but like the tray is like has like some kind of adhesive to it to stick.
Okay. Okay. That's where you keep talking, Peter. Only you didn't, and now you're gonna lose her.
Oh.
Like Jim and Pam on the motorboat.
What?
Steamboat, I mean.
What did Jim and what?
There was a Jim and Pam moment where they were out there and he just didn't talk. And she just like, okay.
This is the first indication that he has...
webby webs.
Yeah. No one notices.
My family was heading over to the theater to watch this movie when it first came out.
Now,
my brother and I found out over the internet that he had organic web shooters, and we were like appalled. We were like, what?
Now, if that had happened to me, the last thing I would have done was yanked that thing and dodged out of the way.
Well, he's not sitting next to anybody.
Walk away, Peter.
Parker.
He's pulling the tray behind him.
Yeah. I like it. I like the looks of the web in this.
And now I have my wife's favorite werewolf playing Flash Thompson. This guy goes on to play one of the main werewolves from the True Blood TV series, and
the
that's
sexy
thing for
True
him.
Blood series.
He doesn't look nearly as tall in that though. This guy is uber tall.
I've always hated this depiction of Spider-Sense, and it's probably because
Really?
I grew up with like a different version. This seemed weird.
This is like sort of like a all sensory sort of like he can tell everything that's going around him, and like to a certain extent I can see how like right there it's supposed to be like to go off to something that's directed towards him. I remember my brother saw the scene like before this movie came out online. And I was like, "That's Flash Thompson. He has black hair, not orange hair."
Yeah.
And he has legs.
See this? I like this. Looking at the arm. Although, what's that guy wearing on his wrist?
A gang chain.
I guess.
Help him, Harry. Which one?
Kirsten Dunst doesn't look too bad in this movie. She looks much harder than she does in the rest of the movies.
See, if this was Ditko, he'd be like, I can't do a flip because Spider-Man does flips. I'll have to pretend to sprain my ankle.
But it's not Ditko, it's Rami. It's Rami's like, who the hell cares?
If this was Ditko, he'd be like, I can't touch Flash.
Principal Davis dropped his pudding in Flash's face.
Yeah, he was like, here's your just desserts.
Manure. I hate manure.
So he can't win if he gets beat up. He can't win if he does the beating up.
I thought that his
Mary Jane's all freaked out.
How could you defend yourself?
He beat up my boyfriend who was attacking.
But of course, she won't realize that he's Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man doesn't exist. Well, oh yeah, right. All this evidence, and she's like, I think I always knew.
It's kind of like, when your best friend like starts leaping tall buildings in a single bound, and the next week there's a Superman out there. You don't think that maybe it's your best friend? No,
nah.
Of course not.
Well, post-crisis Lana did.
No, he told Lana.
Yeah, he did.
But he didn't say he was Superman. He just said I could fly. And then she realized you.
Yeah.
Now this is different from the comics because in the comics
I
it's sort
do
of
not like
magnetism.
this.
You don't like the mini hairs, but that's how a spider does it.
Are you?
Who cares?
They did. They had this in the MTV series too, and I hated that.
Oh, the MTV. I like the movies, but like the MTV series is like, it was so cheeky. Like, oh, we're hip and cool in college.
I thought I'd read something in the comics though about micro hairs on his fingers.
No. In the
Never?
comics, it's literally
If you
like,
did, then burn that comic.
yeah, no.
Right.
It's legitimately in the comic always been like a sort of magnetism.
Okay.
Never been like this.
Well, if I had been directing this, because obviously I can, that was CGI Peter, I would have
Really?
had Peter look more like he was pulling himself up by his hands. I mean, he looks when he's climbing up that wall, he looks like he's crawling on the floor on a wall, whereas I would have had it look like if he was, grabbing the wall with his hand and pulling himself up. But that's just how I would have done it.
Oh, this scene.
You like this scene
Uh,
with the web?
It sounds like he does. I like this scene.
He's trying to figure out which bustles to pull. He doesn't know yet.
no, he's trying to figure out a battle cry.
Shazam.
Okay, I remember that got lots of laughs in the theater.
One,
The
two,
little.
3, 4. I mean, like, I don't like the organic web shooters just because I'm a purist, but I do like the way he figured this out. I thought it was kind of cool.
And you might be able to hear some of the movie playing in the background. Each of us has started at a slightly different point, so maybe like a second or two difference between us if it's not exactly lined up with what you're hearing on your own watching of the movie.
If you don't like it, just turn the podcast off. Just turn the podcast.
And the first web swing.
Yeah.
The first web, the first.
That looks like a white Twizzler he's holding.
It looks like...
See, I think this is funny. Do you not like this?
This is great.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
It was the Go Web Go that I wasn't too much a fan of.
I gotcha.
And then
I
he
know,
falls
just like-
and dies.
Running down.
Until he doesn't die.
And oh crap, I forgot to paint the house. But it's dark now. What was he doing between broad daylight and dark?
He was practicing how to shot.
Going to the hospital because he had a concussion from slamming face first into brain.
He actually lost conscious then. It's been
He has a doctor's note in his back pocket. You guys have to pay all this money for me.
The events of Michelangelo, meatloaf and veggies in oven.
I mean, it's not like Uncle Ben like took a picture of him flipping him off or anything.
Oh my god. Like, does every window in this house correspond to like a window in Mary Jane's house?
Ben Parker made it that way.
They were mirror floor plans. It's the exact same floor plan but facing the other way. Of course, that's not true because then she should be coming out that door right there.
There is lots of bikes in Mary Jane's house. I see like 4 bikes in that backyard, and there was one in the front yard earlier.
This is
I
actually
guess you
very
can always hear us,
reminiscent
but we're just now having a conversation about it. It's not like you grew up hearing me and me crying in the backyard here. It's not like we've ever spoken in the backyard like this before in the 15 years we've been living next to each other.
This is actually very, to me, reminiscent.
Did they say 15 years ever?
Because like, Tobey Maguire and Topher Grace have those big eyes, and they kind of look like each other. And they're talking to her. He's like, in his house talking to a redhead, in a halter top, or not a halter top, but like a midriff.
Okay, so this is our first real interaction with Mary Jane in this movie, and this is when I realized that this was not the Mary Jane I wanted to see. She's a nice, sweet, soft-spoken girl.
And it's wrong!
Instead of a more outspoken, socially energetic kind of person. Granted, she did just get yelled at by her father, so she's probably not feeling
Well,
her best.
honestly,
Yeah, but Mary Jane would get yelled at by her
Zero, it's
father
not-
and like do cartwheels in the streets, saying there's nothing ever wrong with Mary Jane Watson. In fact, that's exactly what happened when like
yeah,
her sister
parallel
got hit.
lives.
And see, the thing is, I know Kirsten Dunst
No,
could have
it's-
played that like that because she's done parts like that before. So she was told not to do it, and that kind of pisses me off because now Kirsten Dunst is considered a rotten Mary Jane by a lot of people, and it's because she was told to be that way.
Peter, what was it? Was it Peter that was first grade? He is a really dork.
Peter, that was first grade.
He's a huge dork in this movie, which is I think is good for like early Spider-Man. Not so much when he becomes Spider-Man. That's my problem with like the portrayal. Like he's too much of a loser, like in both identities as after he gets his powers. But right here, I do like how awkward he is.
Look out! Here comes the spider.
I like the scene because like you don't I mean you know the comic books and everything, but the way the movie's playing out, you're not exactly sure what's going to happen next. Like when is he going to get his wrestling suit or whatever? I mean the way this movie was going when I first saw it, I completely forgot about J. Jonah Jameson until he even first showed up. I was like, oh cool, Jameson's in this movie. So maybe that's
Taller than you look. What does that even mean?
Don't slouch, Peter.
This is a little awkward here.
And this is like the one split second of real Mary Jane we're about to see.
She like, puts on her mask.
Yeah.
And then, oh my god, that's great! Yeah.
My sister and her friends were laughing about that, and they called Mary Jane bipolar. Too bad that car's going to crash into a manure truck. So Mary
I love
Jane
the
likes
search for the
cars,
car.
eh? Yeah, like, if you think about it, Uncle Ben dies
There's
because
Electra
Peter...
behind him.
Peter...
Uncle Ben dies because Peter wanted a car.
No, Uncle Ben dies because Peter totally misread what Mary Jane was doing. Like, what Peter thinks is that, like, Mary Jane, like, was legitimately excited and going gaga over the car. He didn't see it as, oh, Mary Jane's wearing her mask. So Peter misinterpreting that's like, I gotta get a car, does the wrestling thing, blah, 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 and now Uncle Ben's dead because Peter doesn't know how to read women.
This kind of annoying because he comes up with the costume and then doesn't wear it until afterwards.
Now we have a couple different character designs here. Him with like the web capes. Are these related to any actual early designs of the character before the comic started publication?
Early designs of Spider-Man are Jack Kirby designed an early version of the costume, which literally is like lost to time.
Okay.
But you know who drew this? An actual comic book artist. Do you know who it is?
That one that he's holding up right there? No,
Yeah.
who?
Phil Jimenez.
Oh.
Of a Brand New Day and Wonder Woman fame.
Oh, that looks like his Brand New Day stuff. Dr. Pepper. I'm sure that they paid a pretty penny for that product placement.
Yay, Dr. Pepper. I've got Dr. Pepper right here with me while I'm doing this show.
I saw this clip on like a trailer or something, and I still thought he had web shooters on.
Well, you were wrong, Don. Ha ha ha. You're dumb.
The joke is on me. Nice masturbation analogy. Because it is.
Spider-Man's an analogy to puberty.
So maybe that wasn't the last happy conversation he had with Ben. Maybe there's stuff going on between the scenes here that we're not seeing.
Like,
is this the end of Norman Osborn?
We think it is. This is when he starts going crazy.
Why do you have so many masks in your mansion? It's only going to make you have visions.
That's what happened to me.
You're not his real father, Ben. You suck.
I do remember in another TV special for this movie, they tried to like, oh, he's raised by his Uncle Ben and Aunt May. After something terrible happens to one of them, he becomes Spider-Man. Like, oh, which one is it?
Oh man,
it was so badly. It was so badly badly hidden. It was hilarious.
Okay. Everyone and their uncle knows about the blooper in this scene.
The blooper in this scene?
I really don't.
Oh, really?
What are you talking about?
What's going on in like the car? Okay, look at the car windows where Peter is. It's like bushes and trees and stuff, and when he gets out, they're not there.
Oh, really?
I don't believe you.
Yeah, that's like one of those things that like anytime I watch the movie with someone, they're like, you know that's a blooper?
You're changing. There's weird hairs growing in strange places.
Uncle Ben, I'm like a senior in high school. When do you think puberty starts exactly?
Senior, I thought you were 13.
See, future parents out here, you don't want to just have like a big conversation when it's too late to matter. You want to be like having these conversations as the child grows up. That's my parenting tip for this commentary episode.
You too can have a child like Lily Wilson.
Yes.
This was probably taken from Ultimate Spider-Man because Ultimate Spider-Man had this big final speech before he died. I like how Peter's like, "Do you think I'm gonna become a criminal or something?"
The
Well, I read Maximum Clonage when you joined the Jackal, Peter.
I don't really care much for the anger here. I wish.
Stop pretending to be. It is a
See,
little.
I don't like that. I don't like that whole stop pretending to be my father. That really, really bothers me because they would have had such a. I don't know.
I think it's just teenage angst, honestly. I mean, Peter sees him as
Okay,
he says
now
at the end.
watch when Uncle Ben pulls away. Where'd those leaves go? Where'd the plants?
They
What's
built
going
that building immediately afterwards.
It's one of those, fast built high rise things.
Uncle Ben's
Only
doing
it's
the
the music.
Sandman.
Yay! Wrestling! Crusher
Crusher
Hogan. Only it's not Crusher Hogan. It's what,
Bonesaw McGraw or something.
Bones.
Who is Macho Man Randy Savage?
I don't think human beings are supposed to be shaped like that.
Yeah, the artist was really bad in this story. That's unrealistic. Who's drawing this
his upper
movie?
body is just like a
Eric
shrine.
Larson?
Is Eric Larson drawing this movie?
I think it's Wayne Boring.
Oh,
There's
who's
a-
inking it?
I don't know. There were wrestling things held in New York.
3,000.
There.
What was the money in the original Amazing Fantasy 15? Was it $500?
Yeah, $100.
$100 for
I
three.
think so. That's why he gets 100. I thought that was a nod to the comics because in this movie
Yeah.
he gets $100. He's like $100. That's nothing.
I can just look it up.
Why would you do that?
Why would I do such a silly?
I love this line when she says, "May God be with you."
New York Wrestling League, you think? I think.
No. Naked young ladies.
Which you can and will sustain.
I thought that was hilarious.
Nice. Over the ropes, onto the table. And they say wrestling is a fake scripted event. This proves wrestling is real, folks.
Just ask the fans. Boom! Saw is ready.
This is the largest sentence the man is capable of constructing.
So yeah, originally it was Crusher Hogan, now it's Bonesaw, but who cares? This is pretty funny. And I love this entire run with hey, it's Bruce Campbell and Peter here. And wasn't the Human Spider Stanley's original name for Spider-Man, or was that a myth?
I honestly don't know. Maybe. I think, yeah, it sounds like the sort of thing he might have had.
It sounds like it was a crappy idea he would have come up with.
Oh, that looks so silly.
So I
Go
wonder
for
if
ping pong, Dan.
anyone ever made the connection that like this was Spider-Man later on.
In the comics, they did.
Right, but in the movieverse, do they? Because like there's so many people that see him unmasked.
I found this so relatable. I feel like if this ever happened to me, they would probably be making me feel bad about
I
myself.
hate it when there are hot, muscular women yelling at me with microphones.
I love that.
Seems like that happens like every week.
Oh, by the way, and the nurse that's not a nurse at all. But yeah, and in the Raimiverse, there's like months between this and like when Spider-Man appears on the scene, so people could legitimately forget. But I mean, a guy called Spider-Man who like sticks on walls in this thing, and then Spider-Man appears.
Are you serious? There's supposed to be months that go by in the next few minutes after this goes on?
No, between when Spider-Man like shows up. That's what I got.
Oh.
I was cracking up at this point when he says, "Please lock the cages."
I didn't sign up for a cage match.
Yeah.
I certainly no longer want to do this.
And then Peter Parker dies.
I'm not the thing.
This is the second time he's died.
If only Uncle Ben had stopped that wrestler.
Now take your pants off.
Hate time. But actually,
Here comes the gay joke.
yeah.
We can make lots of. I mean, anytime there's two men scantily clad wrestling together in a ring, you can make all sorts of gay jokes.
No, Peter
Did you
makes
say
the
what
gay
else?
joke though. He's like, hey, did your husband make that?
Oh,
And much
yeah.
hilarity ensues.
Okay,
Like,
yeah, he's doing so much stuff here. People have got to make the connection.
This bugged me because I thought that it looks like he's actually getting hurt, and it's like it shouldn't hurt him too
oh, he
much.
actually has the webs in this scene, which he didn't have in the comic.
And I'm serious, his butt looks like really inflated right there.
Peter Parker
Take
actually
the
has a
side
concussion
path.
right now, and he's in a coma. The rest of the like Raimi trilogy is like his fantasy.
We pulled that joke before, didn't we?
Yeah,
There's a American flag hanging in this thing.
Again,
it's a little ripped. That's the crowbar that Jason Todd got beat to
I was
death
just
with.
thinking.
Oh, is that the same one?
Yeah.
He borrowed it from was it Lebanon?
hmm
Jason Todd wasn't around yet when Spider-Man started, because Spider-Man fought Superman at the same time that Batman was with Dick Grayson.
That's a nice scene with him, like his eyes, like hooray!
That's
And then
actually
just
really
goes to
cool. I mean,
sleep.
he just emoted a whole lot with just his eyes showing.
Nothing
Yeah,
can go wrong now.
catches something going wrong.
The first of many things.
The ad said 3 minutes. Oh, webhead.
Maxie Schiffman's a jerk.
Yeah,
I never got how this actually worked. Like I never understood. Like if he did it in 3 minutes, exactly would he get the money, or was it after 3 minutes would he get the money?
I think that it was that they weren't expecting anyone to last 3 minutes.
they weren't expecting
Yeah.
to give $3,000 in any case.
This is a good scene. Put the money back.
Oh.
Why? I hate it when random people throw bags at me.
Like, what's
I-
going on down there?
I really think this is a really well done adaptation of the comic. Well, that I kind of had a problem with when I first saw it. It's kind of grown on me. Like him literally doing it because he didn't get money. Like him
There's a
doing
little
it
bit of a
'cause
revenge factor going on here, whereas in the comics it was just
he was lazy.
high
It's
on
it's
himself.
an Aesop's fable. He was too big on himself and he had to get taken down a peg. Here he's not big on himself. He's just angry.
Right.
Well, it's like I was talking about it to my brother. I was like, I don't like that they changed it because he's given a reason to do it. Wherein the tragedy of the original comic book is that there was no
It
reason.
sort of
for him not
takes some sting out. Well, yeah, I don't know. If
But
sting
at the
out
same time, like my brother argued, it's more sympathetic towards him if you can understand why he didn't stop the guy. And then it's
Everyone
like, well,
crowd around.
it's double whammy.
Okay, everyone, crowd around him. Don't give him any air.
Right.
He doesn't need it where he's going.
Why is he all premonitioned on this? I mean, there's no reason for him to think anything's wrong here.
Well, you never know.
Oh, wait, no. His uncle was supposed to pick him up there.
Yes. Now, what do you guys think of him like finding Uncle Ben right here instead of his house? Because my dad has always said that it never made sense to him why someone would like suddenly rob his house like a week later in Queens. He thought this was more logical.
So did Marv Wolfman.
See, I have absolutely no problem with the guy leaving the city and, later on committing a completely unrelated crime later.
Buried treasure under the house. Or under the car.
Now,
It's the only time where I will accept him crying in this trilogy.
did y'all notice the like extra grains of sand that were around on the ground behind him just now?
I don't know what you're talking about, John, and I refuse to ever know. I like this. He's like, I'm gonna kill that guy. I really
His
like.
ass is mine.
No, where he? Oh, he heard like a police report. I forgot.
No, his spiders has told him. No.
That's pretty cool climbing there, even though it's CGI.
Music all of a sudden.
Yay, music. But again, you're right. There's no theme going on. There is no Spider-Man music theme.
Spider-Man. Now this is like dated.
Wait. Is he bending that metal as he swings on the flagpole?
Well, yeah, because like the weight of him. But like, it's not
if
because
you
of
bend
strength.
metal like that, you're going to wrench it off. Metal isn't that resilient. It's not going to maintain its shape.
Don't you know anything about science?
Don't you know about science? Okay, don't slam your face in the wall this time, Peter.
Yeah, I like this because it actually showed you like like if you were to actually web sling, how would you go about it? So I thought this was really cool. Like I never ever thought about this before until the movie did it. He's like, hey, what if I do this? Hey, it's kind of like, what if I do this? And in the video game, you wore this costume for a while, didn't you?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, you wore this like throughout like the entire first level. Well, the first level was like fighting the I almost said Joe Chill, like the burglar, and the burglar had his own henchmen and stuff, which was crap.
I did like how he was so ground level with the traffic here. Like in the comics, he always seems to be like up in the sky, around the rooftops with his swinging, and here he's down at street level.
Yeah, everybody sees him. He's not like high in the sky. I remember the trailer like they changed it to look like it was just Spider-Man and not his wrestling outfit when he was doing all this.
I remember in the trailer how they had the Twin Towers.
What happened?
We're going to talk about that more whenever he's actually becoming Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that was a cut scene from the film that should have been, dramatically should have been left in. Even though the context and times prevented it from being in the movie.
It's the old abandoned warehouse. A killer can hold off an army in that rotten old place.
And it's so ramshackle, and yet it's never managed to fall after Galactus and the Hulk and
Yeah.
the Purple Man.
I love not this yet, but
Are
I
you
really love.
here?
Yeah.
I like how we can see his face, but since we
I
can't
love
see the
this.
crazy bleached
That
hair, we don't really
that is
recognize it
so
as the
awesome.
bleach.
I love when he like does that Spider-Man thing upside down.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a little gay, but it's cool.
Shut up. Now this, I honestly think this is like one of the adapted from the comics because when we were in the theater and this moment comes up where he realizes who it is, my mom gasped. She like did not see it coming. So I thought that was a sign that they got it right
Yeah.
and that there's no music or anything.
You already know he's a dead man.
And his eyes are so big, and his pupils are right there.
I like him staring for no reason. See ya. He breaks his
Just
wrist.
break his arm.
He broke his wrist, which wasn't much nice, but
You could have saved him, Peter. You could have shot your webs down at him.
he didn't care.
You killed him. You committed a crime, son.
By doing nothing, he didn't kill him.
It's
I'm pretty sure there's a convictable offense there. Aggravating arrest on top of it. Just kidding.
Say what, Josh?
I thought you can evade an army in that warehouse. They sure got in all right.
Yeah. Did one of you guys say you had a problem with him dying, or was it my imagination?
It's the way he died.
The way he died?
You didn't like the fact that he fell out like he should have what? Oh, before we talk about that, Peter's the one who has to tell Aunt May about everything. That's gotta suck.
Peter finally got home.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So now we have an indeterminate time passes.
Graduate before he becomes Spider-Man.
I think we're losing a lot of your sentences, Josh. What'd you just say?
And graduate before he becomes Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Quest Aerospace. Now I want to see if all these things are in the comics.
Quest Aerospace. Well, that makes me think of Johnny Quest, and that this is like Benton Quest and everybody trying this crap out. And the Green Goblin just kills everybody of the Quest family. Love how excited that guy is.
And now you're gonna die a green death.
Oh
Hats.
my god! I love that guy. No!
I hope that gag didn't cut out where I say, and then they turn in the graduation hats.
I'm afraid. Behind me.
It did, by the way. But we heard it the second time. That's a really big, goofy grin on Harry. It's kind of scary, actually.
Well, this was before everything went south for him in this story. Because his life doesn't turn out so hot.
A begrudging congratulations for his son, and then oodles of father love for Peter. It's
As it should be. I gotta say, I might say it again. Other people may have done just as good, if not better, job. I thought Willem Dafoe was really, really great in this role. For every scene he was in, really.
And there's Mary Jane cutting it off with Flash.
Whatever, doll. And he's like, mine.
My son. Of course, we had the whole Ultimate Six thing where Norman calls Peter his son over and over again. And they're home. Uncle Ben sure would have loved to see this day.
Rub salt in the room, won't you, John?
I've always thought that the whole Peter and Aunt May living alone together dynamic had to be really, really awkward. Because, I mean, they have nothing in common, so what are they going to do? Like, sit around and watch, Beverly Hillbillies or something together?
Well, A, they've lived together for a while, and B, like, they do address that in Ultimate Comics, I remember. It's like, do you like me, Peter?
Yeah, they do. They do address that in Ultimate. It's just, here you start to see it, and you realize that they're going to be living in separate parts of the house from now on.
This is really sad, I think.
This is sad.
Since he wasn't there to see my graduation, I'll make sure that never happens again. And become
Right.
Spider-Man because of it.
So we've gone through 28 issues of Amazing Spider-Man and haven't even put on the costume yet.
28 issues of Spider-Man, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh,
28 issues of the Spider Blur.
Oh. Who I am is the Spider Blur. Peter Parker is the mask. Well, I must put on these glasses.
I haven't seen that episode yet.
Whoops. Well, you will by the time this episode comes out.
Right.
Hopefully.
You were meant for great things, Peter. Like becoming Spider-Man and, saving me from the Green Goblin when he makes me repeat the Lord's Prayer really, really stupidly. I like how he has a giant periodic table on his wall. Like that's his kid's poster, So we have movies, he has the periodic table.
To practice his science. So, I'm not saying this is a gripe of mine or anything, but I really would like to know how he made the costume. I like how this zooms in from the costume into like swinging the streets. I think that's awesome. I love this whole thing.
By the way, to backtrack a minute or two, at graduation when Norman says, you're like family, so if you ever need anything, call me. When Norman tells you, I'll treat you like family, that's not a comforting thing.
It is a little bit creepy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, now what I was saying earlier, somewhere in this sequence, in the whole beginning of Spider-Man sequence, I really think that the initial Spider-Man movie teaser with the Twin Towers was intended to be a scene somewhere here. Because, like right there, like that scene of him flying through the sky.
Nice.
That's the only reveal you get of Spider-Man in this whole thing. And if they had had that sequence here, then you would have had a big Spider-Man reveal. As it is, you don't get a big Spider-Man reveal.
I always assumed that it was like an original sequence for the trailer. Xena is somewhere in here. Lucy Lawless.
She's coming.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. I think she's like bald and has dogs.
No. She's a sexy woman.
Yeah, there she is.
Nice.
That's right.
She was really good on Battlestar Galactica, which you really should watch, Donovan.
Yes, sir.
Look out! Here comes the
See,
spy,
like this is the
man.
first instance of Sam Raimi putting in a lot of like bystanders in New York, but I thought it was really cool.
It's very Steve Ditko. All those crowd scenes we've seen through the issues.
This is brilliant. This is so brilliant.
Jameson, Robbie, the Daily Bugle, Betty Brant.
Who is that next to Robbie? That Sweet Dreams or Annie Lennox girl or whatever.
Somebody else who works for the Bugle.
Okay.
Can you handle that?
Yeah. Ugh. Miss Brandt. God. Real talk though, Elizabeth Banks is an awesome actress.
I thought she really made that wig work.
Conway's.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
I remember catching. They say that they have Eddie like on
Move
it.
Conway
so
to page
it's supposed to
7.
be Eddie Brock. So
I heard Eddie. I love this run. That can't be done. Get out of here.
Who is that girl? She's not even talking.
it's Annie Lennox.
So he said Eddie Zani. I think that's an Eddie Brock reference.
It was supposed to be at the time.
I love this line right here. Ferris, did I
It's
make him?
A great Jonah. I know that there's not going to be a Jonah in the new movie, which is an interesting choice. But if there were going to be a Jonah in the new movie, I really think they should have just kept that casting.
It's
Spider
pitch
Sense.
perfect.
Mary Jane.
More like leg sense.
And so she hides the fact that she's a waitress from him.
I love the buzz. I love the buzz off, and then like as soon as she sees him, she's like, "Oh, hi."
Oh, I didn't see you there. Kirsten Dunst looks pink in a lot of these scenes. Her skin, like her hands and stuff.
I'm so not.
You're living your dream, and then like actually she's not.
See, Peter, I was lying to you just now because that's what I do. I'm a lying liar.
I love to lie.
I love to lie. Sorry.
Mary Jane did work in fast food, according to the Tom DeFalco All My Past Remembered issued. Like you see her working a series of odd jobs when her mother was like in the hospital dying.
Oh.
Illustrated by Ron Friends.
Yeah.
When was that? I don't think I've ever heard that one. Is that a title of the issue or a title of the story within the issue?
It's titled The Story Within the Issue. It's the issue where Peter and Mary Jane go for a walk in the park, and Mary Jane says, "Did I ever tell you about my family?"
Okay. I've read very little of the Tom DeFalco run, like pretty much none. I should know that existed.
It's the origin of Mary Jane. It's where Parallel Lives gets about like 70% of their stuff from. Minus the identity reveal.
See, I think Mary Jane so far has been kind of cool in this movie so far. Like right now, I don't think she's that bad of a character.
No, I think she's pretty good there. It's a mixed bag, and my dislike for the way she's handled in these movies grows as we go through the trilogy.
And even though Spider-Man's on the scene, we've still not. He doesn't really show up till the Green Goblin first shows up.
See, they're graduated. They're settled into the apartment. I think that there's been a time skip.
Yeah, there has.
So,
no, I agree.
People should still remember him from wrestling.
Yeah, whatever.
He is studying. No, he is studying. So we're into the fall semester.
Right.
We've definitely jumped forward several months.
Well, he says weekly visit as well. So like, which means that like he's been doing his weekly visits for a while.
Dr. Connors fired him.
There's your first reference.
They kind of that dynamic they just mentioned. They kind of play on that in the beginning of the second film, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Dr. Connors has it out for Peter immediately.
So we've been living together for how long? And you haven't mentioned the fact that you're dating my childhood sweetheart.
Well, I was going to get around to it eventually. I mean, you never give me the chance.
Now they do this in the comics too, right?
What do you mean?
Not.
I think that Harry and Norman talk about Peter maybe Harry mentions to Peter that he could talk to his dad about getting him a job, and Peter says, "No, I'll make it on my own."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that happens a few times, and then eventually he takes him up on the job offer and quits the next issue.
Because
Okay.
Norman Hay was insane.
Working for the Green Goblin wasn't all it's cracked up to be. The Green Goblin's a lousy sponsor.
Yeah, that's his tri-state. That's as close as we get to Tricor.
Oh, we had the web camera there. That was pretty cool. I realize that's the whole point of this scene, but it's still pretty cool. Okay, CGI there, kind of bad.
Okay, this is almost 10 years old. Now, one of these shots is like a riff on Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah, you see it on the table.
I like Mega Crab.
Ed Asner is always going to be my Jonah, but this guy's good. J.K. Simmons.
Well, just in the live action role, I think he's perfect.
I love the flat top. Like, whose hair does that?
That's why it's
Jonah
fake.
Simmons?
He's like, what? Like I don't think there's a single like iota of like incorrect they got with Jameson in any of the movies.
Don't give it to the girl up front, Peter. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Oh, there's Annie Lennox again.
What's an Annie Lennox? You've mentioned her a few times.
She's the one that sing. Well, watch that video of "Sweet Dreams Are Made of This." You'll see.
Okay.
Here's your girl, man.
Ugh. I mean, no. Like I said, real talk. Elizabeth Banks is a good actress. I like her on Scrubs and 30 Rock and everything that she's in usually.
Yeah, she's like barely tolerating Peter here.
Yeah,
Dude,
she
Peter,
more than tolerates him in the third one.
Peter, you have no idea. You had dodged a bullet right there. Be glad that she shut you down.
This scene kind of makes me laugh because like Norman's like everything's doing. So
is the choice of Oscorp as the company name, do you think that's a direct take off of LexCorp, or is that something more subconscious?
No, it was in the 90s animated series. And
as a takeoff of LexCorp from the Superman comics?
You'd have to ask John Stemper.
Why are they
I'm asking you.
Why are they kicking him out of a company that's named after him?
Because they're dicks.
Yeah.
they want to be skeletalized.
That's true. I know. When I was looking at the title, I was just like, well, ideally he owns the company.
There's bald wheelchair man telling him he's going to resign in 30 days.
He looks like a vulture.
That's John Locke, actually.
You can't do this.
Not really, but when you say bald guy in a wheelchair, I think John Locke. Never tell me what I can't do.
Sorry, I'm getting to my Mickey again.
Oh.
Max.
I love how like this
Max
guy.
Young.
This guy coming up with like the cup of tea.
They have tea.
Yeah. like this is so hilariously douchey.
Seriously though, do y'all think that's Max Young in the wheelchair? He just called him Max.
Absolutely, it's Max Young.
I am declaring that is Max Young until you sign me up for something that is not.
Check Peter David's novelization.
I should read
Macy Gray. Remember when she was relevant?
I
tried
I like Macy Gray.
And I choke.
Oh, shut up. I like that song. That song makes me cry sometimes.
When I try to hide it, it's clear. This commentary has.
And then, like at the end of the video, when like at the music video where she's like running,
and she did some sort of Brad Douglas had her music on the Crawl Space podcast, one of the intros. Oh look. Does it look like Mary Jane's in a kimono there? She is in a kimono.
I don't know what she's wearing.
Yeah, she is.
It's a kimono.
What did she think this was?
A costume party? No, this is like the free world national fair. This is a Unity fair.
So my father by bringing a geisha.
Well. This is
you
a
can
Unity
wear a
fair,
kimono
so
without being a geisha. What was that? What was that?
What was that? Yeah.
If they've been together for this long, why is she dodging his kisses?
Because he can't kiss well.
They're already at that point in the relationship.
That's really sad. I mean, if they're that point, they should not be
That's
together
pretty much
anymore.
it.
Dump his ass
Spiders
on the
singular.
sidewalk.
You know, we're past halfway the point of the movie, and like we've
Max
really not seen Spider-Man too much yet. We fired him. For you.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Oh,
You know-
Singular! I remember when that was Singular's logo. God,
You
that
know,
was...
I honestly think a slight failing of this movie is not having a solid scene where you see Spider-Man up close doing stuff. I mean, you see him like here and there, but they make it like really fast and really hard to see. I think honestly, if you had a scene of him like doing something before this scene, it would be cooler. Because up until now, we're literally over the halfway point, and there's not been that kind of scene. And
Right.
maybe it was cut with the Twin Towers or something like that. But I think that they could have reshot that.
Right. Yeah, as it is, the movie doesn't have it.
Yeah, no, like
It really needs it.
we've pretty much not seen Spider-Man, even though like we've kind of seen him in pictures and stuff.
At this point, Spider-Man has been active in the shadows. People know about it, but we haven't seen him. Maybe that they just decided to just keep him at the urban legend level until this big, showing where he rescues Mary Jane.
Maybe.
That's the only thing I can think of. There's Stanley.
He fell out of his wheelchair. He was faking the whole time.
You saved your parents, Peter. Good job.
Oh really? Oh, this
Too
is
bad they're
real?
robots.
They're too bad they're robots. Yeah.
You wasted your time.
Wow, Mary Jane, you fell on a set piece that's obviously not attached to the rest.
I thought it was cool. Spider-Man.
Say, man, that's one bad outfit.
Bad outfit.
This scene reminds me of the end of the first Ghostbusters film, and there's all that rubble falling down on the people.
This is-
Okay, this bothers me.
This is like so ridiculous.
Yeah. If he has that bomb, why doesn't he just use that all the time?
Right. He only has 7 of them, and he has to make
That's
the
a one-hit
last.
kill bomb.
Hello, my dear. Oh, Norman, always flirting with your son's girlfriends.
The cute little girl who said it's Spider-Man, that was the role that Kong got in the Spider-Man film in Ultimate Spider-Man. He points up in the sky and says, "It's Spider-Man."
I think that kid was on Disney Channel.
Billy?
The kid that's about to get crushed.
Is it Billy Connors?
Okay.
No.
Whatever.
It is. It's Billy freaking Connors.
Okay, sure.
When he was alive.
It's Timothy Harrison.
I really hate
Spider-Man accidentally gave him leukemia by like
honestly-
catching him.
He said Billy.
So what do we all think of the costumes here?
Actually,
Okay, I don't mind the Green Goblin costume. That gets so much crap. I really don't-
the only weak part of it to me is the mask. Whenever Matt Gargan was on the glider earlier in the film without the mask and the rest of the costume, that looked pretty badass. But I don't know. Of course,
I
we
think
just got
that-
a nice shot of his ass there.
Villain costumes getting changed for the movies, it kind of comes with the territory, so I accepted that easier than I accepted some of the other stuff, like the burglar's
Yeah.
death and everything. And
Of
Mary
course, then
Jane.
there's the Green Goblin costume from Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Oh,
Which
God.
I will admit, I saw a photo of it like on stage with all the lighting and everything, and it actually looked, less terrible. But
Really. This cracked me up. Like I
did
love
he
my
just fly him directly into that
Yeah.
frame?
Yeah, he did.
Hurry
I
up,
love
she's gonna fall into a time dilation portal if you don't.
Mary Jane.
Yeah, McGuire actually does pull up a couple of Mary Janes here.
Yeah, but he can't do it like Barnes.
No one can do it like Barnes. I thought that's
Oh my god, how like that thing like goes an inch. How many
Oh, that's fake as crap.
we'll meet again, Spider-Man. How very
I've
sad.
got you. Well, who's got you?
Oh, I was totally gonna do that joke.
See, I think that this is just a personal thing, but I think that the blues on his costume are too dark. This movie are like too kind of they're kind of too pastel. They're not bright enough.
Why are you
Pastel's
cheering?
not
He's
dark.
abducting that girl. Stop cheering. He didn't put her down. He's abducting her.
I like that.
Can you
The way
read
he
my
just- the way he
mind?
just, like, looks-
Do you know what it is that you do to me?
I'm a fool. Now this,
Stranger from another star.
I thought this was a little awkward, just the way that she can't tell it's him.
Yeah, I can see what you mean about the blues. They are kind of dull. They almost look black because they're so non-blue.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of black and red Spider-Man, even though everyone else is.
Okay, when he says I'm your friendly neighborhood of Spider-Man, my sister and her friends were saying neighbor, neighbor. Get the hint, Mary Jane.
Your friendly neighborhood neighbor. No, amazing. She said amazing.
That'd be the most annoying thing if like
So, Harry, you are your own Oh, wait, no, that's Peter.
Harry says, I'm my own competition. You're not Spider-Man, Harry. I want to buy you something.
it'll make you feel better because I said so. Buy her some pie. How's the pie? So good.
Oh, God. I forgot about that. Oh. Yeah, we haven't told you, John, but we're making you do 2 and 3 at one point, so we're
Surprise,
gonna
everyone.
get to that part. Me and Don have been discussing it. We're like, if we want to do 2 and 3, John will just follow suit.
You heard it here. And we'll simulate your voice if you don't.
Okay, so the Peter, Mary Jane, Harry love triangle. It, it's in all the other medias, and it's like, for storytelling purposes and dramatic purposes, it's really good, but it was surprisingly in the comics very little. Like, Harry and Mary Jane
Yeah.
started dating in the comics, and Peter did not care. And then Mary Jane hit on Peter a few times towards the latter half of Lee's run, and Harry got a little jealous, but
It really
otherwise,
didn't start like heating up until the drug arc. Like it's like that was when Gwen left and Mary Jane was openly flirting with Peter while she was kind of still with Harry.
But Peter being jealous over Harry dating Mary Jane, that was never ever something that happened in 616 or comic continuity. I know because some people hate 616.
Okay, so are we, based on what happens later in the film, we're supposed to believe that... See, he's not actually making the voice, so I guess it's all in his head at this point. He's not actually verbalizing the talking to himself yet.
Here.
I
This is
really
why you
like
do
masks.
not own all those masks.
Owning masks is really cool if you want to have a super creepy house.
I thought this was a really great bit of acting. I mean,
There's
maybe people
everything.
find it cheesy, but I thought it was cool. Hey, there's a picture of Emily. Maybe.
This seemed very 90s series to me, because like in the 90s series, Norman like would always talk to himself.
In the mirror.
So you don't think this
Yeah.
is over the top here?
I don't care if it is or isn't. I thought it was cool.
Okay.
I mean,
It's-
it very well may be, but
The idea is definitely good.
see, I think that the way his voice changes is great because, like, in the cartoon, in the '90s cartoon, Neil Ross would change his Osborn voice to the Goblin voice, but it was always the same voice. So I like the fact that Willem Dafoe could pull that off as well, and he looks different in the mirror and in the actual live action. And the laboratory.
You mean the steroids?
Strom
So
died
I
of an
think
overdose, no, right? Oh no, we killed him.
I don't know. It's not his voice that I mind here. I like the voice. It's the facial expressions. I just think he's like so...
This is high.
Yeah. He can make himself look sinister without making himself look corny about it.
What are you gonna do?
That is not how the Daily Bugle building looks, damn it.
Yeah, Gerard actually mentioned once. It
Oh
looks
my
like
God, Annie Lennox, what is your job? What'd you guys think of the Hoffman gag?
I didn't mind it. I thought it was cute.
The Hoffman?
By number 3, he was annoying me. Like, because there's literally a shot in, like, number 3 where Jonas says something, and then you see Hoffman, like, sticking his, like, body, like, into the shot. Like, what about this?
I like it. I love the line. I trust my barber.
He just pushed that cigar out the window.
You know, this scene is very, very comic booky, but I really like it.
No, this is a really cool scene.
Betty Brant. Someone help me! Someone help me!
Yeah, Betty Brant, stay on the phone, don't help your boss, because that phone call must be more important than the people, than, your boss getting attacked by a murderer.
I knew you were gonna do that.
Swear to me.
Well,
But
yeah,
Jim
I mean,
actually like saving Peter. So that's kind of cool.
I like that.
This entire scene is directly off the Steve Ditko pages. I mean, except for that.
Well, this is cheesy, but I like it because it is like a comic book. So I guess
Actually, you know what? Even in the comics, he would have said sleep. Yeah, that whole sequence was straight off of Ditko. I mean, could have been straight off of Ditko page.
Complete with Betty Brant staying on the phone instead of, doing something, like hanging up the phone because your building's getting attacked.
Let's have a conversation on the roof. Just, two guys in masks talking like it's Saturday night. We have a beer in our hand.
I like it when we're not up to it yet, but when he leans his shoulder on the.
Yeah, that's so silly.
People say that. I heard that was a point I think where people who don't like this movie said, "Oh, yeah, this movie sucks, and this is why."
Well, you can't take him seriously at that point. It's just like you're no longer a villain. You're
the Goblin's in control, so he can kind of do whatever he wants.
Yeah, but I don't see Norman doing that.
I don't know. I don't think Norman is as serious as you think he is, or you see. I don't see Norman as serious as you see he is, John.
Here's the shot.
Yeah.
Look at the stars, Spider-Man.
He needs Dragon Zord power now.
I think he has all the look at those ears. You can really see him since he's like just sitting there still. The ears up the side of his face, the side of his mask. I mean.
And yet you're not.
I can see where they're going with this mask. I think I might be able to forgive the mask. If it just, I don't know. I don't know how I would change it, but I would definitely change something. Maybe it's the Alien movie lengthened skull thing he has going on. Maybe that's the problem I have with it. What if they had painted that entire back portion purple? Probably not, but
They had so many designs of the original Goblin costume in this movie, and a lot of them kind of did look more like the comic book version.
And y'all know that the Green Goblin mask from this movie shows up in Ultimate Spider-Man, right?
Comic book?
Yeah. In the Hobgoblin story, Harry Osborn goes on this trip that's completely in his head, but he imagines that he finds his dad's secret lair, and the Green Goblin mask from the movie and from the regular continuity are in that lair, even though the Green Goblin in the Ultimate World never wore a mask.
Right, I remember that.
But like I said, it's all in his head, so it's all this loopy, imagination thing.
She's wearing like eyeliner in that scene or something because she's so tired.
Keenan can say cheeseburger now. He says cheeseburger with two B's.
You're making me hungry.
I'll take you for a cheeseburger, Mary Jane.
I love to eat your cheeseburger. Not so subtle at all, are you there, MJ?
This isn't flirting. This is just people talking in sentences, slowly and unemotionally. And her asking questions.
I think MJ is flirting and he's not getting it. I can buy it.
She's flirting.
When
a girl suggests that you should be interested, that is definite flirting.
There's the first time
girls send mixed signals.
Well, yeah, I mean girls.
No, we know it.
Definitely.
Us men, not the girls.
There's the guys
look!
From
now they're bad guys.
Those are the guys from Kraven's Last Hunt.
Yeah.
Give me your purse, and then we do the thing.
Okay, this kind of annoyed me the way he like for some reason he didn't put on his mask later. Because why? Why? I don't care if like he's too fast. They can't see him. Like there's no reason.
Do the kid a favor, lady, and don't scream.
I just watched that really recently. It's probably like the quote unquote.
Yay, spiderwebs.
Yay, wet t-shirt.
Oh yeah, nipply.
Oh wow.
No, dude, yeah, no, like 6 inches long.
What? What?
Come on, we can't make John edit this.
No, this is all staying in. This is the best part of the film, though.
This,
Never.
eh.
Oh yeah,
Well,
totally.
this is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
most like this is
the
like the most
best.
one
Okay.
girls like the most. Oh my God, look at this.
But yeah, I
Supposedly,
mean,
like the water went up his nose, and like they were cold, and this scene was like really, really uncomfortable to film.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
I
why I
can
like to see
imagine.
it.
Yeah, anything you're doing upside down for any length of time is going to be
And
uncomfortable.
like this was like 3 a.m. in the morning.
And they were both admitted to the
Cool filming.
hospital for cootie treatments.
Tell McGuire beating those guys up was his screen test for the movie.
And this
And
upside down kiss here, I mean, this is the most iconic moment in this film, I think,
the series, I think the entire series.
for the
I
entire trilogy.
I think
Yeah.
it's on the back of like the DVD in some editions.
I think this is the girl's most favorite parts. I remember my ex-girlfriend said that this is her favorite part of the movie.
I really
It
want
is
to
a
know
cool
how that
scene.
mask works.
Oh, in the
That was
special
our
features,
kiss.
yeah, like when he's fighting and stuff, it's like the whole top part of the suit is like one part. But when he takes it off, it's like a separate. It's just like a separate costume. But
Okay.
like when he's like moving his neck around, it's like in the comic books where it looks like it's one whole bodysuit.
They were all chewing on each other's bottom lips there. It was weird.
Yeah, it was hot.
I've never kissed like that before.
Upside down like that? With rain going in your nose? I wouldn't recommend it. It's kind of uncomfortable.
I actually have had an upside down kiss, but not hanging from a building.
I'm sure I've had like a laying down upside down kiss, but never like a me hanging upside down
Yeah,
vertically.
it's as close as it gets. This is probably like this will probably lead to like one of the more cheesier moments in the movie. I will fully admit. I've been given a lot of leeway until now. Just like the
That's
way
Martha
Goblin acts.
Connors.
I actually think she's the same actress who pulled Billy out of the crowd earlier.
No, that woman had like dark hair, didn't she?
We
Oh,
should go back and look. Okay, everybody pause the movie. No, just kidding.
that is the same shot earlier when he was speaking in his like wrestling costume. That's the exact same like animation, but they just like digitized it with his costume on.
Spider-Man, you just broke a window unnecessarily.
Unnecessarily, because the fire's not going to break that window.
Because people care about windows right now.
Well, oh yeah, okay. If my dad was here and my brother, they would tell you like probably 8 errors and with
Windows.
like the way that this movie's portraying firefighters. First of all, they're supposed to cover their faces, like, and for a reason. So yeah, like
My dad was martial arts and firearms. He would count the rounds, and he would also tell you if they were using an actual form.
My brother likes this scene where he says, "Not coming back, Chief." See, I like this where you can actually see all of Spider-Man in the broad daylight.
I like this little interchange with him and the cop.
Yeah.
I won't be.
Not coming back. Like my brother likes that. Now I like where like everything until the Goblin reveals to be some dude in a dress.
Okay, while he's walking through the fire here, I want to talk about his webs for a second, because he shoots the web, and then the web automatically contracts. Like, the
I
web is
think it's like
obviously stretchy in this, and we've talked about it on the show being stretchier, not before. But it's like it shoots out stretchy, and then it contracts after it dries, and that's weird to me.
that's one of the scenes where like where did the spider sense go? It's very very come and go in the series.
Is that the turn you into bones and ashes bomb?
No, because he
It's
would
a
never use.
Razorbat.
He's never going to use those again. That would make too much
Oh no, that's
sense.
the bomb that turns into razor bats or whatever they are.
If you have a bomb that can turn people into bones, you can rule the world. But you'd have to, actually use that bomb. Norman doesn't.
This is a pretty cool
blood,
scene.
spider blood.
Is this
radioactive
pre-Matrix or
stuff.
post-Matrix?
Oh, this is post
Matrix.
Matrix, son. Well, like this, like A, where did the spider sense go? To one, there was the Goblin, and B, I can't believe the Goblin would be in a burning building and like pose as an old woman.
Yeah.
I find that kind of ridiculous.
Or that he would like put on a fake mustache and go talk to mobsters as a disguised version of Norman.
Okay, well, to be fair with the whole spider sense thing, he's in a burning building, so like
He's probably surrounded by spider sense triggers.
yeah.
Oh yeah, what the stuff ever.
What the stuff ever.
I like it.
Oh.
He looks like he's coming down from like a big high.
He does.
Ecstasy's a powerful drug, Harry.
Did the serum was that called anything in this movie? It was. I know it wasn't called globulin green or anything, but
Globulin green.
Work was murder. Wink at the audience.
That was in the some of the like commercials and trailers.
I love how Defoe is like drooling at Kirsten Dunst right here. Like he'll do it
He's
in a
got like
second.
really creeper. I'm sorry to interrupt you. He's got really creeper eyes though when he's looking at Mary Jane.
Yeah, no, it's this it's so
He gives a
uncomfortable.
look at Harry like, "Oh yeah, Harry, you picked a real sexy mama here."
Like right here, like it's meant to be creepy, and it is. It's really funny.
And Mary Jane's, and he's all like, "We have
That's awesome.
Mary Jane's totally creeped."
Now this scene, yeah, I like this scene, but like this is a different costume when he yanks it off.
This was a good scene. How it was filmed.
Well, though the ceiling is like ungodly high. Go for it. Just do it, man.
Yeah, it's movies where like people don't see people like that are obviously like on the ceiling. Like you can see the ceiling when you walk into a room usually. Why don't people ever look up? I don't get that.
Peripheral vision is not like limited to 3 stories.
Well, in this particular room, the ceiling is 17 feet above the floor, so
Good thing he has
that
goblin
helps.
hearing.
Right.
And that blood was fake.
Spider blood.
He squints. He's like, something is wrong.
The ceiling is bleeding. Ceilings don't bleed.
Or do they? That's a nice shot.
Oh, come on. No one's going to look out the window.
Well, like you say, 17 stories high. Or like what John said. James Franco looked like he was getting bored. He's like, where is this guy? Oh, there he is.
Cranberries without like sugar and stuff that makes cranberry sauce is really, really nasty.
There's been a big time skip because it's Thanksgiving now.
In November.
Yeah. So like, and we don't know like what month the field trip was on.
Sometime before he graduated.
So this movie can take place like in like 6-8 months.
So she slaps him, and like evil comes out of him.
Well,
of course, he's digging his freaking fingers into the dessert, into the sweet potatoes. That's so nasty.
Evil comes out of him.
That's nice. That's why he makes her finish the prayer later.
Oh, so. Is that why?
I like the version of this in the superhero movie spoof where like I met a crazy girl on Craigslist.
That is a nasty cut. Hey,
there's
only one way he could get cut like
Norman's brain.
Okay, for real though, I've come home from work with cuts like that.
I'm sorry.
I know I have an idea, but I'm not.
And you're not even Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well,
I wasn't fighting the Green Goblin, but I mean, my family didn't like look at me like, something's up.
Josh, are you Daredevil?
Yes, Karen.
The fact that Peter is Spider-Man has come to my attention. I must go get my green underoos.
And he dares to wear a green
McGuire's
shirt.
like, I don't know. Enjoy a fruitcake.
Here we go, telling Mary Jane off.
Okay, now he was just checking her out. So why is he all? Oh, of course that's typical male.
Yeah, no. There's a reason why you're checking her out.
You check out the beauty and put down the woman. She is hot, therefore she must be a bimbo. I apologize on behalf of my gender.
I apologize for nothing.
Oh wow.
That's really dickish.
Boink her and throw her out the window.
I would never suggest that to my son.
To yourself?
If I were like Norman Osborn's age, I would never say that. I would hope not. And then Harry defending him. Like this is a very uncomfortable scene for Aunt May and Peter. They're like, I don't know.
The first Thanksgiving since Uncle Ben died. It'll be.
I like how she's Aunt May to everybody. Like, she's never really talked to Mary Jane before because obviously the next door neighbors never associated with each other, but she's still Aunt May.
I can't.
Do not own so many masks, dude.
But they look so cool.
Really? Make him suffer. Make him wish we were dead.
Make him wish you were dead. And then say yes.
This is what it sounds like when doves cry.
I did like. I like how this scene starts out with like the picture of Uncle Ben, but then when he says, "Hey, you're saying the Lord's Prayer? Finish it right now." It's good stuff. Like he should have like blown off for the side.
This is for slapping my hand at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, he's totally.
You
Is this
couldn't
like
let me
later that
finish-
night?
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean?
Deliver us from evil because
Well, I know delivers from evil means, but why is he making her scream the Lord's Prayer at him?
To torture.
she doesn't have a prayer. I think that's the idea. This is very harrowing, actually.
So this is Thanksgiving night. The rest of this movie happens on Thanksgiving night.
I don't know. I guess no, because like it's like the next day and stuff, and
Is it the next day?
Yeah, because like when
they're
him,
gonna go to the room.
MJ, and Harry are in the room.
He knows what.
He's like all in shock.
Well, you were knocked out for a while. He could have taken your mask off.
This is true.
I wonder if there are any like Silver Age purists that were like complaining that the Goblin's identity wasn't a secret in this movie.
Are you? If they are, I want to slap them.
Yeah.
If you're out there and you're upset that the Green Goblin's identity was never secret in this film, you are no longer allowed to listen to Amazing Spider-Man Classics. Goodbye.
I will
Get a
slap.
life. Get a
Turn off your
girlfriend.
iPod. Listen to something else like Two True Freaks, which is a good show.
Yeah. Listen to other good stuff out there, but don't listen to our show.
You don't deserve the quality. Okay. No.
You don't deserve.
I think this scene is cut out in like syndication in the movies and then television.
The Mary Jane visit?
Either this scene or the one where Aunt May says, "Ha, here on Superman." That may be the scene that's cut out
That scene was in the commercials and it was played for laughs.
all the time.
That's because Harry's a douche.
Like honestly though, this Mary Jane is like leading this guy on. Why is she with him?
Mary Jane being in love with Spider-Man. Like, okay, yes, obvious. Oh,
Go for it, Josh. Go for it. Let him loose.
ah! Faker. She's a shipper. But yeah. Like Mary Jane being in love with Spider-Man when she doesn't know that he's Peter Parker, for some reason I have a problem with that. And like, there's some people say, well, in Parallel Lives, before she knew he was Peter Parker and she saw him on TV, she was starstruck, but that's like different. She's like
being starstruck is, here she's being Lois Lane.
Yeah.
She's being Lois Lane in love with a superhero while, the secret identity is standing there in front of her.
Well, listeners, what do you think? Should Mary Jane have loved Spider-Man or not? Just email in and find out. I never really thought about it one way or another, to be honest.
And Mary Jane like buys all this. Oh, I'm his personal photographer. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna ask you if you're kidding or not. Oh, and you talk to him all the time. Yeah. Oh, so you and Spider-Man in a personal relationship, and like it's never come up before. Like she accepts this information like very easily. Like if you were to tell me that you were Paris Hilton's personal photographer and like you knew her really well, I'd say nah.
But this little bit right here where he's like telling her what he hypothetically said to Spider-Man when he's actually telling her what he thinks about her, this is really, really sweet.
Yeah, I think this is pretty gutsy of him just like let that come out.
And I think as undervalued as she has been so much of her life, I think she is getting something from this little scene right here from Peter that she's never gotten before. Yeah,
that's a very good looking into it, John. This script gets a lot of crap, and some of it is deserved, but I thought this was extremely well written. Like this, and then he's like, "Oh, something like that." Like she's about to cry.
Then they have sex on Aunt May's hospital bed.
Something like that.
As Harry is like,
yeah.
If there's a window in the door, Harry would be like peeking in the window.
I couldn't agree with you more, Harry. I don't know if you know, John, but like there's like a a dozen episodes in the '90s show where like Harry would show up like stage right to Pete and make a comment about how Peter and Mary Jane are like dating behind his back, and then get angry and talk about friendship, and then exit stage left. This reminds me of that. Oh, I can explain, Harry. Your hands were touching. Those sad eyes.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I'm tied to somebody else. I can't hold hands with you.
I don't remember this scene.
Dad, why are you laughing?
He's just, watching porn. That's all.
Who cackles when they watch porn? Never mind.
Don't you? What are you talking about?
People are running around doing crazy stuff.
She's in love with Peter. She was holding hands with Peter while his Aunt May's in the hospital, Harry. You're such a...
Harry is admitting that he's a douche because, yeah, Peter's always loved her, the dick. Even though I took her when he was on his.
This is a moment that we didn't get in the comics because Norman was a dick to Harry all the way up until he first lost his memory in issue 40.
That's why I find that the Harry Norman relationship in comics so confusing because it really does like waffle whoever's writing it, even like, amnesia or not. I find it very inconsistent. This is weird.
That was weird.
Yeah. What the hell was that? I think this scene's cut out in syndication.
Really in a coma, were you? I did what I had to do to get you and Mary Jane to hold hands.
Excellent.
I love how he's like, you were supposed to be asleep. No, this is a serious thing.
Oh man, you were just fooling, huh?
This is the silly part of the script coming in again.
Yeah, this is where the nostalgic critic had fun with this. This just suck.
Oh well.
This makes Peter out to be such a twerp.
Because you only lived next door to each other for how many years? And you never talked to her. That was stupid of you, Peter.
Your next door neighbors.
You silly. Even the Green Goblin.
Even the Green Goblin. Oh, that's right. That's what says, oh, shoot. I gotta go save her from the Green Goblin now.
Or your next door neighbors.
Are you here? This is a weird line. Don't go down any alleys. Yeah. I think I think that this scene was like there was a scene in the movie where it showed the Green Goblin grabbing Mary, or not in the movie, in the game that showed the Green Goblin grabbing Mary Jane. I think there was a cinematic before the final level.
Okay.
And do you know this, John?
Do I have what?
Video game. In the movie video game, you could have different costumes. You get the Spider-Man costume, the wrestling costume, the Green Goblin costume, or a Mary Jane skin. And at the very end, when you beat the Green Goblin, your character and then Mary Jane's kiss. So you can have it where Mary Jane kisses Mary Jane.
So when you're doing the Mary Jane skin, is she just wearing like this outfit, or what is she wearing?
She's like wearing like a shirt and jeans.
So you can go around the entire game swinging on webs as Mary Jane?
Yes.
That's fun. That's unexpected.
And no, because I have this, and I remember like parents getting upset when that was found out that you could have Mary Jane kiss Mary Jane.
That's
It was lots. It was very lolsy.
It's like her clone
Yeah,
when she kisses Demogoblin.
I guess.
Ultimate Demogoblin. Save the guys from the train. Not the train. What is that? Cable car.
Yeah, for sure. Is it? It's like in the middle, or is it? It's not in the middle of the night. But like, why are they on there?
Yeah, why are there that many people going on the car all at one time? Well, the car like waits 45 minutes before, so it can be fully loaded up. So if you get there, if you're one of the first, you really have to wait a long time. It's actually faster if you just walk down, but they don't want to do that.
I thought that's pretty cool how he like not pole vaulted, but like
Catapulted.
slingshot himself.
There's actually quite a bit of really good Spider-Man action in this movie.
I think the action is always a consistent high part of all the movies.
I like how he keeps his mask on for a lot of the movie too.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, don't get used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm mentioning it, because in this he's Spider-Man and he enjoys being Spider-Man.
Even when I was 13 years old, I wasn't as I wasn't as learned as I am now. Even then, this is where like the comic book elitist got in me was started to take over, and I was like, Gwen Stacy, I can tell.
You're not fooling me, Rami. I know. I
Exactly.
know.
When I was 13 years old, Peter Parker was dealing with the fact that his parents had shown back up.
When I was 13 years old, Peter was dealing with John Byrne.
Aww.
My brother says like when Spider-Man does this, he's always like, damn, because he thought he was like sold out the kids.
Oh.
Now,
Like, damn, Spider-Man.
That's gotta hurt. I just pulled my arm out of my socket.
Well, yes, the superhuman strength. Shut up, Kirsten.
oh, Mary Jane keeps screaming.
And his eyes are all showing now. Why are his eyes showing now?
They were earlier in the movie.
Well, I know. I mean, he can retract the eyelids, but why is he doing it now?
He wants to see.
He wants to watch this for himself.
So the Gwen Stacy bridge thing was retold with Mary Jane in the '90s series, and in Ultimate, and in here.
Marvel Knights.
Well, like retold as I mean, like when they adapt Gwen Stacy to replace her with Mary Jane.
Okay, yeah, and Ultimate Comics here.
As opposed to like issues of like 616 where Mary Jane's kidnapped and like just like Gwen Stacy.
And that in the Ultimate Comics arc though, that Goblin arc, like the 4th volume, the trade. Did this movie come out before then, or did that come out after this movie?
That came out after this movie. The Green Goblin, the second Green Goblin story, where he captures Mary Jane and throws her off a bridge.
I love that story in Ultimate Comics, by the way. I really.
I don't have the issues in front of me to look at cover dates, but I'm pretty sure it was after this movie. Because this movie came out when the comic had only been around for 12 or 18 issues.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Goblin Glider is purple. I don't know if I've ever noticed that. It sounds like silver or something.
The Goblin Glider is awesome. Like, as many troubles or problems as I might have with his mask, I think the glider is an excellent design.
Mm. Oh, here we go. Here's everybody's favorite part of the movie.
And New York. Yeah, because New York has a sense of
Unity.
community, yeah.
Well, no. The reason for this is like right after.
Yeah. This is right after 9/11. It's just.
So it said, hey, let's do this, and like, I mean, it was like it's like where to me, the movie went from like, okay, this is a cool movie to like, this is awesome, because like the music goes and Spider-Man's just getting the crap kicked out of him. And I was like, okay, this reminds me of this is like a Spider-Man comic to me. I love this entire in sequence.
Oh yeah, with him falling and webbing and trying to stop himself from dying.
I love that.
Oh, and then there's a bomb that's going to turn you into bones.
No, why would Norman use that one?
Maybe he meant to and he grabbed the wrong one.
No, he just grabbed the one where it would show Tobey Maguire's face.
This is the unmasking bomb.
Misery. Like I'm just geeking out right now. I never get tired of this. Like to me, this really like even as a kid, like it's embodied like all the stuff I had learned about Spider-Man. Like just like getting the crap kicked out of him, and like especially like when he like it's not happened yet, but when he does. Apparently, when they were filming this, Willem Dafoe actually punched Tobey Maguire several times, and they left it in.
Wouldn't you?
Punch the star of the movie.
I like Tobey Maguire. I don't want to punch
I
him.
love this.
It was an easy joke.
Oh yeah, the web stuff is pretty cool.
I love how because you see it like forming the giant web. It's not just automatically there.
Right. I actually like a lot of the webbing effects in this film. I like the textures they use. I like the way the webbing looks. Like whenever they zoom in on it sticking to stuff, like whenever he, shoots out a strand and it grabs something and you see like the little delta of web attached to the surface, it's pretty cool.
This is funny. Now that you really pissed me off. I thought that was good. And you like look at his face. Like squints his eyes.
Yeah, there's that. But do you realize how long it took me to make those stupid glass lenses just the right shape and size?
I don't think so.
He's got a trident.
Like yoink from name one.
Who wants trident? I do.
I can use some trident right now.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say Don, but yeah, you might.
No, I have an addiction. I need some trident.
Aw,
That's kind of. Whoa!
But we all know that that's not how he dies. He's pulling a carry right now.
No, I'll get to when we die. I have an in-theater story experience about that.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
4, 5, still alive.
Zumba.
You're about 10 years off for that one, Josh. This movie is 9 years old now. Next year is going to be 10.
Wow.
2012.
We should take it to Chuck E. Cheese for its birthday.
if the apocalypse doesn't destroy it first.
Well, it was Norman? I haven't been paying attention. I totally did not realize it was Norman.
I thought it was Jameson.
Now, it's interesting because they were playing up so much the conflict between the two personalities earlier in the film that, you could start to buy into it, of course, until he pushes the button on his wrist.
Right here. This part right here.
Yeah.
Like the 13-year-old comic book elitist in me, I leaned over to my mom and I said, okay, Mom, whatever you do, don't scream. Because you just knew what was going to happen.
Right.
You can see the glider like turning to the audience and like shushing us, like shh.
Yes. Like usually, I don't like villain deaths in comic book movies, but this one, I liked because it was right out of the comic books.
Oh, now you're going to say that.
Yeah.
Well, not when he was alive. Why would you want to do that?
But this was way more grisly because, like, watch where it hits him. It's like down.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
No more little Osborns coming now.
Tell that to Gwen and Lily. Oh, not your Lily, but Lily Hollister.
Yeah, I know.
Don't tell Harry that I died with the
This
machine
way.
sticking out of my crotch.
Don't tell Harry that it got me in the balls.
Remember, it stuck through my chest, not my balls.
You'll feel emasculated.
Yeah, you didn't let me finish Spider-Man. You could have told him I was the Goblin. I just meant don't tell him that I died in such a humiliating
Tell me
manner.
that final line. Peter, don't tell Harry. Is that out of character? Or is that you not care?
I don't even really know what he means by that. I mean, they had a bonding moment right at the end there, so I guess it kind of helps put it in context. But
Oh, Harry, what kind of
like this
outfit
gun
is
out of
that? Are you
nowhere.
a drama major?
Doink.
Spider-Man date rape my father.
We're doing that again.
Is there a gun in every drawer of the house? Like it just happens
yes,
to be
in the
like,
Osborn house, there is a gun in every drawer
Don't you have a gun in every
and a mask on every wall.
Okay, one of those tombstones is gonna say Stacy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
She dies in the reboot.
Until he shows up in the third film.
That was her problem.
It's Paul Stacy, of course. He died somehow.
It's G. Stacy from that Brand New Day story.
One Day Spider.
Oh, I just remembered that. I remember JR commenting on Franco actually being a little wooden in the scene in his articles. Like, Spider-Man will pay. I swear he will
I
pay.
hate Spider-Man. Thank God for you, Peter. Why? It's a good thing that I like you. Why, if you were Spider-Man, I would stab you in the chest right now. But instead, you're not Spider-Man, so I will hug you.
Yeah, this is like right out of the comics with Yardy.
I don't know if I would call him wooden here. I mean, when you're dealing with intense levels of grief, it's really hard to emote. And, I mean, you just don't. You kind of withdraw, so I think it kind of works.
Why is Mary Jane staring at him?
Oh, that's right. You're narrating this story, Peter. I forgot because you only did it in the first.
I do remember
Right.
all the trailers, like, you want to know who I am? Do you really, really want to know? It's a mystery. You won't figure it out.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you, but it's
Now-
yes.
So when I saw this
Tarzan,
movie,
there's a
the
huge
only
loop of
Spider-Man
him.
I knew was, some bits from the early 90s and then my 20 issues of reprints. I really didn't have a whole lot of Spider-Man under my belt. So this whole, this is my life, this is my curse theme that they're going with in the opening and closing narration here, I just didn't really get that. I didn't really understand.
It was very Hollywoodized, but
I mean, I can see it with Spider-Man now. I mean, knowing more about him and realizing how much problems being Spider-Man has caused him, I kind of get it. But
I don't mind it. I mean, he doesn't. Actually, he does do it in every single movie. Never mind.
Well,
I really-
and that how it should have ended thing. He's like, Spider-Man, stop narrating.
Yeah. Okay, she puts her hand on his face. It's hilarious. This blooper coming up. I'll point it out.
Well, Norman said in the deleted scene to Harry, "Don't worry, Mary Jane will kiss Peter over my dead body." No, not really, but it was an easy joke.
So sweet. So
Over
sweet.
my dead body, on my grave, at my funeral.
After you leave.
Don't worry, Harry. I won't do
Harry-
anything
Harry's
distasteful.
like, oh, I forgot my glasses. What?
Peter.
I just can't help myself. Da, da, da.
Okay,
Aww.
there's speculation that when she kisses him, she recognizes the Spider-Man kiss, which is
Oh,
why
yeah.
she has the big eyes and says "Wow," because
That's
she really.
that's the tease at the end of the movie. That she just realized.
It's totally Chase Meridian, like at the very end. I thought that's legitimately the way to do it. And the entire second part of the movie where she doesn't know who he is like a waste of time.
But instead, you had to go be an angsta.
You're really trying to popularize that term, aren't you, John? And what's
Okay,
an angsta?
ladies and gentlemen in listener land, what do you call an emo gangsta? An angsta.
That's great. Now, what? Her hand is on his face.
Yes, it has been for a while now. which is really kinda awesome.
Watch. Now, keep on watching for the next 45 seconds.
I'm still watching. He wants to be there. He wants to take care of her,
Oh,
except
what's
that he's not going to actually kiss her anymore.
Her hand is moving. I'm noticing actually. In one shot, it's on her ear, but then when it cuts to
Okay,
her
watch right now. Watch where it goes
yeah,
to a
it's
watch right
then
now.
it's not on her ear. That's a
Watch.
blooper.
It
Yeah.
falls.
Oh,
And then it goes on there again.
Kirk Connors.
Oh, it's back again. Yeah, that was a
It's kind of like a comedy now. Yeah, but then it's on his ear, and then then it's not on his ear.
It's almost like there were at least 3 different sets of shots they were using there, and in the third one the hand wasn't up, and then she's like, that kiss. Now, how long did it take her to realize that?
I thought she realized it after she kissed him when she said "Wow."
Yeah. I always thought that. Now this very last sequence with the web swing, I thought it was terrific. I thought, yeah, that's how you do it. This is my prayer.
I'm Spider-Man.
Who am I?
Spider-Man.
That is a
Dun, 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 dun,
pretty
dun,
good
dun, dun,
transition.
dun. Yeah, I thought this was pimp. I love this, and I still love this. I think it's
And this is the sequence they use in the opening DVD menu.
Yeah, they do. Which was on for a while when we BS'd until we started recording this.
Yeah. Bess was like, okay, you have to start the movie. I don't want to watch this over and over again.
I love that, like the double web swing thing.
Yeah.
I thought
Oh, and
that
it's
was
the American flag. Yay, New York.
Has Bess been sitting and watching the movie with you this whole time?
No, she went to bed before we started doing this. But before we started doing it, the movie was playing again, and she was watching it.
Told me
So I don't know what she got to. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my
You know,
god.
I can't believe that we're actually fans of this character. It's really pretty bad.
Carjacker. They don't
Dr.
even
Mendel
give him a name.
Strong. Dr. Mendel
Miss
Strong.
Brandt. They don't call her Betty.
Oh, nice.
They don't call her Betty. She's like a.
They do call MJ's mom Madeline Watson, which is
That's wrong.
Macy Gray was played by herself? That's crazy.
Punk Rock Girl was played by Lucy Lawless?
But yeah, Madeline Watson was Mary Jane's mom in the comics.
Really? I thought she had a different name.
No, it was Madeline and Philip.
Michael
Madeline
Moore was the
Pryor?
second assistant director. Well, hey.
Oh god, I forgot about this. And they say that a hero saved, and they're watching us.
So high, I can see
I talked about this with Don on the phone a few days ago, but like, I honestly forgot that it was coming.
Well, after this, do the classic Spider-Man theme, but I like this song, but people hate Nickelback, so.
Hero God, no, I used to babysit this boy back in high school, and like when this movie came out on DVD, one of the special features was the music video, and the kid would watch the music video, and he'd always go around the house saying, "And they're watching us, watching us, watching us."
So we have completed our first year on this show. This is pretty awesome.
A year of drama, hookups, divorce, marriage, sex,
and then Spider-Man comics.
Yeah. And
so if we can get another 40 issues done in the next year, that'll put us after the Clay Tablet, after the main Romita run. We have John Buscema and
because
Jim
like
Mooney.
a lot of stuff is like, yeah, like a lot of it is like him like heavily inked.
Right. Or doing just breakdowns, whatever, and we'll have a couple of spectacular Spider-Man issues under our belt.
We'll see.
It's going to be a good year. We have a lot of really core, classic Spider-Man stuff ahead of us. It's going to be a really good year.
And as Ian Wilson said, it depends on whether we're still alive, like each other, and are able to record podcasts.
Hiatuses notwithstanding, and special diversions like the eventual Untold Tales in Chapter 1 episodes. We got to do those.
We really should do those.
Hold on to.
Lots of ideas, lots of things we're kicking around for the future.
And some of your favorite guest co-hosts will be coming back.
Yes.
and others won't be.
And they're watching. I wonder if Riley would listen to the show.
Overall, I
still talk to him.
Like before we close out with more thoughts on the year. What else do we think about this movie? Like final thoughts.
If you stay till the end of the credits, it's gonna do the '60s Spider-Man theme. Someone told me that when I went to the theaters that night, and I made my dad wait for it.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I said I was gonna play the classic theme.
But I really like this movie. Whenever I first saw it, before I found out the internet had a lot of problems with the Green Goblin and everything, and then I realized that I was going to agree with them, I actually really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great adaptation of the character. I really enjoyed the film.
I do remember that when I was walking out of this movie, my family, I thought, okay, this is easily the best superhero movie that's ever been made, and it's funny because I literally just thought the same thing when I walked out of Spider-Man 2.
Now, see, was X2 out by this point?
No, X2 came out in 2003.
Okay. So, at this point, my favorite superhero movies would have been the first Batman movie and the first X-Men movie.
My thing has 30 seconds left. Oh, I was about to say, when are they going to do Spider-Man? Because I have 30 seconds left when it started.
There's this classic Spider-Man film theme right there. It's our classics music. They're playing our theme in this movie. That's amazing.
We didn't get any royalties.
Yeah, because obviously we made the song ourselves.
Well, thank you all for listening to the episode.
It's like you're doing the voiceover.
Tune in about 10 days for another action-packed adventure with Amazing Spider-Man Classics. We have... Who's next? Oh, the return of... No. Crap.
Spawn,
I don't know
right?
what's
No,
on the next
Spawn.
episode. All my episode calendars are mixed up in my head.
Join us in the next episode where special guest host Steve Ditko will talk about the issue.
I know what it is. We're
Flash
having
Thompson turned into Ball.
issue 41 with the Rhino, and then annual 3 with the Avengers. That's next.
Oh, yeah, that's where the Wasp talks about her wasp instincts.
And the Avengers spend way too much time staring at a picture to study somebody.
Yes.
Yeah, and miscommunication makes like the whole world like basically get like messed over.
All this plus the Hulk.
Yeah. If you want us to do the Donner cut of Spider-Man 1, email.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Yeah, the Donner. We're like, okay, well, that in the Lester cut, Spider-Man throws like a giant spider at the Green Goblin, and it like turns into cellophane.
Well, it's not
That-
the Donner cut, it's the Gantry Lawrence cut of Spider-Man 1.
Right, and then like when he kisses Mary Jane, she forgets the events of the whole movie, and then she's in a coma because she has like the mind of a 5-year-old because he kissed her too hard, and she forgot like the last X amount of years of her life.
And then Spider-Man says, instead of saying it's you who I thought God, be out of your mind, he says, "What's the matter? Never heard of freedom of the press?"
I don't get that.
Ah, damn. That's the difference between like the Donner cut and the Lester cut from Superman 2.
Okay, I don't. Yeah.
He says, "General, you want to step outside?" In the Lester cut, or no, in the Donner cut, he says, "What's the matter? Ever heard of freedom of the press?" In the Donner cut, he says, "Gentlemen, we want to step outside," or it might be vice versa. Whatever.
I saw them both recently.
I actually haven't seen the Donner cut.
I saw clips of it on YouTube.
I bought it. Yeah, it's interesting. It was different enough that I went to buy it. But you guys in Listenerland don't care about it because that's not Spider-Man. The Donner cut of Spider-Man. That would be a fun thing to.
Yeah, you don't care about it because you've not seen the Donner cut of Spider-Man. It's only we have seen it.
Because Richard Donner made it just for us. I was like, dude, that's like a $50 million budget, and really, you're only going to show it to 3 people. That's like a big waste. He says, I don't care. I'm such a big fan of the show.
Right. Because we're in with Donner like that.
Yeah, some of my best friends are named Don.
Like who?
Like, I see.
Check.
Check and mate.
I like it because I think we're like still recording and like this is like.
Yeah. Okay, you can probably press stop now.
I did.
When?
It was around the time that he blew off Spider-Man's mask.
No. When did you stop the recording for real?
I actually haven't stopped it. It's still going.
Oh. For the 1-year anniversary, a half-hour blooper section. Can we find interesting enough material to fill it up? Stay tuned, webheads.
And yeah, that's kind of exactly what happened. We had quite a good time after the movie was over, just talking and joking around, and so I've moved all that to the back section. If you were here for the 1-year anniversary movie commentary, that is done. Thank you so much for listening, but there is more to be had after the closing music. So I want to thank you for listening to the show. We have had an amazing year. We look forward to more, and the listening audience is so much larger than I ever expected it being, and I want to thank all of you for downloading the show every month, regardless of lateness and all that other stuff, because I know that I'm not the most regular of producers. At least, I don't always meet my own deadlines. Maybe y'all don't really care, but I do hope that you continue to keep in touch with the show. Our email address is amazingspidermanclassics@gmail.com. We will be having your emails in the next episode, and you can also contact the show by going to the website at amazingspiderman.libsyn.com and leaving notes there on the postings for each episode. There is also a link on that page to our Facebook page, which you can like to follow updates of new episodes whenever they are released and all those other things. I do want to remind you before we go that this show, Amazing Spider-Man Classics, is brought to you every month by Roll2Play. at roll2play.com, where they are currently running a 10% off on all Settlers of Catan games and expansions. One of the featured items among those discounted is the Settlers of Catan Travel Edition for those who like to play on the go. It is nice and compact with rules modified for easy play on the go. That is $25.20 on roll2play.com. You can also find Roll2Play on Facebook if you search Roll2Play, all one word, spelled with the number 2. Next episode, we have Avengers meeting up with Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 3, as well as the first Stampede of the Rhino in Amazing Spider-Man number 41. And until then, thank you very much for listening to Amazing Spider-Man Classics in association with SpidermanCrawlspace.com. My name is John Wilson. Good night.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big hang-up. Wherever there's a hang-up, you'll find the Spider-Man.
So what do you think's going to happen in Spider-Man 2?
They've been
clearly
rumoring that the villain is going to be the Lizard.
Yeah, that's a rumor every movie. But not that there hasn't been more than one.
Well, they
movie.
teased it in this one because they mentioned Dr. Connors firing him.
Yeah, but then they're pals in the next movie. There must be multiple Dr. Connors. But there is no next movie, right? It's 2002. I don't know what a podcast is.
There's no such thing as...
I read about podcast in a newspaper article in like 2005.
No, in 2002, I would have been in like 7th grade. Smallville was just out, right, that year?
Oh yeah, Smallville
Yeah.
just finished its first season.
Oh, God, I remember seeing the second episode.
That show's not going to last more than a few seasons.
Well, it's for his high school years, so it's only going to last like 4 years.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, this whole like Freak of the Week thing that they're doing, I understand that they can't bring in anyone like Doomsday or Darkseid or General Zod, because that doesn't work with the show, but it would be more interesting.
John, leave all this in. This is cool.
They could bring in Brainiac. I mean...
How would they bring in Brainiac?
Well, they could have a normal guy, like get some British guy to play him and have him be, I don't know, master high school teachers or something.
What? Oh, Brainiac's his high school teacher. Okay.
Yeah, like his science teacher, because...
Yeah, and Doomsday is dating Chloe.
My ass.
Right.
Doomsday's dating your ass?
No, like my ass. Doomsday will be dating Chloe.
You know what?
Like
Yeah,
saying,
let's make that John's explanation. Let's bring in British people for these villains. Let's make Mixus Pitalik a British person for.
I mean, everybody knows the show only has like 4 years possible max anyway. Because after he graduates high school, he becomes Superman.
That's right. I mean, maybe he could go off to college for a couple of years, because I think in the post-crisis universe he did get a 4-year degree in 2 or 3 years, so he could do that. But that's really as far as you can take the show. After that, he has to be Superman, because that's the way it is.
Pre-crisis, he went to Metropolis University. He went there post-crisis too, but yeah, he met Lori Lamaris there.
Right, right.
What do you think of that whole theory about Chloe becoming like Lois Lane?
It might have.
Actual theory from the early seasons, by the way.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, because they obviously have it. She has a thing for him.
And she's a journalist, so
Right.
like,
I don't know why they would change her name like that, but
maybe
She's blonde, bubbly, and not abrasive. So.
Well, it's her evolution too, but so Lana and Pete, you think they're gonna end up together because of the comics?
Well, obviously, I mean, this show can't not follow continuity. I mean, they have him in Smallville. He knows Lana. I mean, he knows Lex, and that's already wrong.
Well, I mean, I really don't think they're going to go that direction, because then they'd have to make Pete president, and I mean, he can't be president because he's black.
We've never had a black.
Okay.
We've never had a black president.
We're doing
this 2002.
Well,
No, leave it.
Pete. Yeah, Pete. Well, Pete's Clark's best friend, so I mean, obviously they're gonna have to do something. Give him some big stuff to do. Otherwise,
Yeah, they're not gonna write him off because of
yeah,
him.
there's no reason to have him on the show otherwise.
It's not like the actor is in any trouble.
Yeah. So okay. So you ever think they're gonna like bring in more characters from the show? Because I mean, we have the Kents, Clark, Lex, and Lana.
I
You
know.
know, since
You know
it's
what
a
I think
Superboy
second season is
show.
gonna be. I think second season is gonna be his adventures in the future with the Legion.
Oh, you stole my answer. Yeah, like because it's a Superboy show. You have to Legion.
Okay. How are you gonna have the Legion's gonna be on Smallville? Are you kidding?
No, I think
Oh yeah.
there's that new guy that DC has writing comics. He's only been doing it for like a few months now, but I think he'd be really really good with a Legion script. What's his name? Like
Was it Jim Johns?
Yeah, Johns. That's his name.
Yeah. He did I don't know, man. He's been on Flash, so I don't. But I think that what's gonna be really cool is that you'll have great characters like Brainiac 5. You'll have Matter Eater Lad. You'll have Karate Kid. You'll
Can you
have
imagine
Triple
Why
Matter?
why
H.
do you
Like
think that all these people are gonna be on Smallville? It's not that type of show. I mean,
Matt
you
Peter
will soon.
he's gonna stick that like metal rod in his mouth to eat it, and he's gonna do the total like lick the end of it thing. And it's
That's
gonna
what
be,
she said.
Okay, you're gonna see Green Arrow and Flash on the show before you're gonna see the Legion. Okay.
Oh come on, man! Now you're just being cynical.
Yeah.
he can't really meet the Green Arrow in Flash because he's
He's
Superboy.
Barry. Yeah, because like when he meets Barry, Barry is already an adult, so he would have to like meet Barry as a teenager. But Barry has always been an adult as a Flash, so that's kind of rough. And Ollie, yeah, it would just be hard for like you can't really justify it. That would be like meeting like one of the Teen Titans, which would be
Oh
crooked.
yeah. Yeah, having Teen Titans. Okay. What kind of show have you seen the show? Like, do you know what it is? It's like him at the farm and him at the school and then like some random villain that means nothing. It's you're not gonna see these characters. It's they can't get they and if they did it, they'd probably do it stupid anyway. Like okay, like hypothetically, if they would bring Doomsday on, like what are they gonna do? Make him like the Hulk or something, and
Well, I mean, like, he has to be a monster. It's not like they're gonna give him a secret identity or some crap. So
I think
put
whenever
a
they do
monster
bring
on the show.
Doomsday on, they should just like leave him in the shadows, sort of dark and mysterious, not really very clear, kind of like Galactus in the Fantastic Four movie that hasn't been made yet.
they should bring Jimmy on. But like Jimmy would have to be obviously because Clark's a teenager. Jimmy would probably be like a young boy or something.
Maybe that's who Chloe is. Maybe Chloe is just a Jimmy.
No, you know what? Young Jimmy, like 8-year-old Jimmy, he should totally have a crush on Chloe, and Chloe should be kind of amused by it. Like, Jimmy and Chloe, that would be funny.
What about Lana? I mean, like after you can't have Lois in the show, obviously, but Lana, are they gonna
Well,
do the
yeah,
thing?
because they don't meet until the Daily Planet.
Not
Well,
really.
unless she is Chloe.
Lana turned out to be Chloe.
Chloe turned out to be Lois.
Chloe's gonna have to be like change her name to Lois, or they're gonna have to kill Chloe off in some big, crisis type event because there is no Chloe in Superman's reality. So, I mean, maybe she'll like end up being Doctor Fate or something and merging with Hawkman's reincarnation or something like that.
That's the biggest bull stuff idea I've ever heard in my life. I mean, why would you make a created character no one's ever cared about? Dr. Fate. I mean, come on, John. What's wrong with you?
Oh yeah, Dr. Fate. Yeah, they can't even get like they can't even get like some of these other legacy characters. You think that they're gonna have Dr. Fate? Okay, yeah. They're gonna have Dr. Fate, and he's gonna team up with Stargirl and Hawkman, and Hawkman's gonna fight Deathstroke. Okay.
If I were gonna put Deathstroke on TV, I think that they should totally get the guy from Battlestar Galactica because he's already had experience with an eye patch. So they should put him as Deathstroke on the Smallville show.
Is that really the guy?
I'm looking up what Spider-Man looks.
Yeah. The guy from Smallville who plays Deathstroke was on Battlestar Galactica.
That's what I was saying because I really didn't know.
He loses his eye in one of the seasons.
I thought it was hilarious how he was caught in the explosion. And then like, all he needs is an eye patch. That was just fun.
I'm trying to look up what Spider-Man books were out this month just to complete the gag, but
We actually did this.
I think we have ourselves another.
May's finding out who Peter is around this time. It looks like, or like had just found out.
It was around the Death of the Family.
Yeah.
I definitely remember that.
So, how do you think JMS's run is going?
I really enjoy it. One of the most. It'll obviously be one of the most beloved runs of Everland.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long he's going to be on, but I hope he ends his run with a bang. Something that's going to have the fans talking for years. That would be awesome.
I just want to soften the movement.
What would no like because JMS like he's building up to something big, and when his run ends, it should be a story that should have major ramification for years to come. Something that like on message boards when Spider-Man fans talk about a current story, like the discussion will eventually devolve into like JMS's last story because it was that like groundbreaking.
I don't know, man. I don't think that's possible anymore. All the stories have been told.
I think JMS can
It's
do it.
like I mean, I mean, like it's not like well, that's true. I mean, it's not like it can get any worse. I mean, we've been through the reboot and everything. I think James can only go higher.
That stuff is over. But I mean, if John Romita can't, stay on it, I like Casada. I mean, even though he was late, I like Casada, in his run on Daredevil, which I'm checking to make sure that actually happened at this point. I think it did. Yes, it did, because that was at the same time as reboots. Yeah, because
Okay, so this movie hit May 2nd of 2002,
Mm-hmm.
and comic books hit the day before on May 1st. And never mind, there were no Spider-Man titles. Spider-Girl 47, Ultimate Spider-Man 22,
oh, Spider-Girl, that series is gonna run forever.
Ultimates number 4, Ultimate X-Men 17, Ultimate Spider-Man 22. What was that? Now I can find out which issue of Norman Osborn's story had already been done by this point.
Axel Alonso is the current editor for Peter Parker Spider-Man. He's a good editor.
He'll stay there forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so the the Green Goblin story where he threw Mary Jane off the bridge, that story was in the process of running right now. So it could not have been known when they were making the film, but it was being told to tie into the hype from the film. It had just started up actually. The day before the film hit, the first issue of the Green Goblin legacy story had started. So there you go.
You really want to say Doctor Who, didn't you?
Okay,
I don't know
so
why. Yeah.
Peter and Mary Jane have kind of been apart for a while now. Do you think JMS is going to get around to bringing them back together?
If I were picking up Spider-Man, that's the first thing I would do.
I mean, that's what the fans want. I mean, like the fans. The last thing they would want is from them to like permanently be gone.
I mean, take your time with it, make it organic, but make it happen.
Well, I mean, we're not that far away from issue 50, and I'm sure that he's saving, something special for there, and I really hope it's Mary Jane back. Because if Spider-Man and Mary Jane, aren't together, I'm going to throw myself off the Brooklyn Bridge.
What was Spider-Man Tangled Web number 13?
Oh, that was I remember that. Oh,
That was the last Spider-Man book to hit stands before the movie came out.
is that the one with the Kingpin?
I'm looking at it right now on Spider-Fan. It's it's a Ron Zimmerman one. Oh, that's the one where Osborn's in the bar, and he's like, I killed his girlfriend right in front of him, and it was a blast.
Oh yeah.
Double shots.
Yep.